right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome into another episode of America's Hometown Horror. My name is Mike. I am your host this evening. Thanks for checking in on another episode of the show. And I am psyched out of my mind about this episode that we're about to drop into your earwaves tonight. So thanks so much for playing us on your phone, through your headphones, through your car speakers, at work, amongst friends, amongst enemies, amongst family. Whatever you're listening to, we certainly appreciate it, as this is our last episode of the year of our Lord 2022. And dare I say, the episode that all of us might be the most excited for of the entire year, which is saying a lot because we've done quite a few episodes. Anyway, before we get started, a couple of things I want to get out of the way because we have a lot to discuss. I usually say we have a jam-packed episode, so let's jump right in. But this episode, we really and truly do. First and foremost, you have probably heard this before, but you know where you can find us online. First of which is our website, which is ahhpod.com. That is AHHPod.com. You can find out everything about our show, including listening to our episodes. You can see what we look like. You can read our blog, which I think we all would like to contribute to a little bit more coming up in the new year, which, hey, New Year's resolutions, we can do that. You can also find us on the following social media platforms, including YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Just search for America's Hometown Horror. That's the name of our show, and you will certainly find us. And you can also shoot us an email at hometownhorrorpodcast@gmail.com. And have to mention our two partners in crime. First of which is Horror Facts Magazine. You can find them at horrorfacts.com. It's a great resource for any fan of horror, and I would recommend that you subscribe. Check out their website. Great for news, great for reviews. And they have a whole bunch of horror podcasts on their website that you can listen to, again, directly through the site, including our own. And, of course, last but certainly not least, Fangoria, the first name in fright since 1979, and we are partnering with Fangoria to give our listeners an exclusive 20% discount off all merchandise and first-time magazine subscriptions. Just head on over to shop.fangoria.com/hometownhorrorpod, and you can use the code hometownhorrorpod at checkout for that 20% discount. Woo! All right. Anyway, we have the whole crew back here tonight, and I could not be more excited. So you know them all by now if you're a listener to our show. Andrew, Kat, Matt, lady, gentlemen, good evening for the final time in 2022.
Happy New Year.
What's going on? How we doing, everybody?
Hello. We're doing great.
Belated Christmas. Happy early New Year. Mm-hmm. And, of course, have to mention what we were just celebrating all together was our happy belated third birthday. I know that Matt, Andrew, and I all talked about it a little bit when we talked about Black Christmas last week, but we finally got the chance to go out to the lovely Red Tea Garden in Carver, where it all began. Had a couple of George ties, a couple of beers, some delicious food, and kind of reminisced about the history of the show, and we are just all so amped to talk about this.
3 years in,
this topic tonight.
We've spoke our first words, we've taken our first steps, and now we're ready to fucking let's go.
Taking a lot of steps at this point.
A lot of
3 years later.
A lot of stumbles, a lot of steps.
Yeah.
But we're here.
We caught our stride.
Yeah.
We on fire now.
Matt, how has your first almost year been on the show? Have you enjoyed yourself?
I look forward to it every week. It's one of my favorite things to do. As simple as it is, just come over, hang out with the homies, drink some beers, and talk horror.
Fuck yeah.
This episode, I tortured myself at work today. I had a long day, and I got myself too excited, but I'm ready. This is going to be such a good conversation. I can't wait. I'm
psyched too. And of course, if you've seen the episode title, you know this already, but we are going to count down each of our top 10 horror movies of the year 2022. This has been a very good year for horror, I would say. Most people are saying this is one of the stronger years in recent memory for horror. I tend to agree. And I think there's a lot of different movies that we're going to discuss tonight. And I think we honestly do have a lot to get into. So with that being said, I know we're going to skip over our usual watch list and news stuff.
Ain't nobody got time for that.
And kind of jump right in because this might take a little bit. And strap in, buckle in, and enjoy the ride. Because
buckle up.
Strap on,
buckle up,
bend over, and
just take it. We're gonna give it to you.
Take this horror content right up the poop chute, baby. So, if you know anything about our show, you know that we all have, I'd say pretty varying tastes with certain things. Kat tends to like slasher horror and teenage horror. Andrew likes dark, depressing, weird things, as does Matt. I like worm movies and most monster movies, so as I'm sure you can imagine, there were a lot of movies that fit a lot of those profiles this year. It's been a pretty good year for horror. Even if you're not a fan of all the movies that came out this year, it was a great year for horror overall.
There's so many movies.
At the movies,
so good. They
at the
killed it.
box office, on TV, on streaming services, just kind of everywhere. Horror continues to reign supreme. Continues to be as popular as Andrew's favorite thing in the world, some of the superhero movies and shared universes, which I think is arguably the best thing for our show because there's always something good coming out.
There's always something there to remind me.
Yes, absolutely. Oh, I should say too. By the way, not a partner of ours, but they just produce awesome horror stuff. Cavity Colors, which I got Christmas presents for all three of my co-hosts from. Some pretty nice threads, if I do say so myself. You should head over to cavitycolors.com and check out their stuff.
Dude, I'm like an advertiser right now. My shirt is my Mars Attacks long sleeve from Cavity Colors.
Oh, I didn't know that was from Cavity Colors, too. I got Andrew a pretty awesome Halloween 3 hoodie. I got Kat a pretty awesome long sleeve Ghostface shirt.
Correct.
And I got Matt, I think arguably the thing I wanted the most
That
of the
thing's
three
sick.
was the 3/4 sleeve baseball tee, the They Live tee.
I'm excited about that.
Yeah.
I might wear that to work tomorrow.
Yeah.
What up?
Yeah, so you guys ready to fucking get going with this shit or what? All
Are
right.
we going to pick our order?
Yeah, so I think maybe we should just...
should we let the audience know how we're going to be doing this so they're not confused?
Yes, for sure. So if you're familiar with let's say, so the podcast that we drew the most inspiration from with this is one called Colors of the Dark. It's on the Fangoria podcast network. Matt and I particularly love that show, and they do their top 10 every year. They have for quite a long time, and basically the way they do it, it's 2 people on that show. So we have 4, so it's going to be a little bit different. They basically have a rule where if they have an overlapping movie, they will say, let's put a pin in that and wait until we reach the highest point on someone's list. We feel like that would spoil the surprise a little bit, so we're going to kind of silently, behind the scenes, if somebody mentions a movie, people are going to raise their hands, which obviously if you're listening to this, you can't see that. So we'll know that that somebody has it higher on the list. You guys won't know.
Who or when.
Yeah, who or
where.
when. And we might just conveniently talk more about said movie later on in the episode as we reach that point.
So when we say the name of the movie, there's going to be a slight pause while we take a,
Put our hands up, right?
Yeah.
Kat's waving her arms around like she just
Cat's
don't
going to
care.
put a thumb up.
Kat's going to put thumbs up. She's
Thumb
going
and
to
a knuck.
flail like Kermit the Frog.
I'm going to tip my cap
great.
like hello there.
But so yeah, we kind of I don't think we put in place too many rules for this, but I think we were all pretty cognizant of the fact that we were looking for straight horror movies to a certain extent. Like we have something coming up where we'll talk about some other movies this year, but I think we just wanted to kind of, because there's so much to choose from this year that all of us liked to varying degrees.
off my
As
list.
Kat tries to cheat and look at Andrew's list.
You haven't seen any of my movies, so leave me
So
alone.
yeah, I actually, you're probably correct.
I've seen some.
I'm actually,
Bring this under here.
I'm very interested to see how much overlap or lack of
there'll be
overlap.
My
little
guess is
bit.
3. Total, I think there's
I guess
3 movies that all 4 of us
Five.
All 4,
I
yes.
say 5.
that all 4 of us
I have a
are.
feeling we're probably about 60%
I know that
in
there's
that.
7 movies on here that you haven't seen.
Okay.
All right, then.
Or don't have on your top 10.
Then we'll go with
So 3's a good over-under
3.
then.
Yeah.
So
We'll see.
You want
I
to
could
put
be
money
wrong.
on this?
before we
No,
jump into
not
that,
yet.
because this is kind of like our 3, now the Cat's back here and we're all together live again. This is kind of our 3rd anniversary, end of year, top 10 horror movie of 22 bash.
And we've never done this.
We've never done this. And we're kind of combining
Matt
a
for
bunch
the
of different
idea.
things together.
Yes.
Yep, Matt, as always, continues to bring great ideas to the show. And it's awesome to have him on and bring some new energy and just think of things that none of us have thought of in the past.
Yes.
So, yeah. So we did want to hit on a couple of quick items, and again, these are meant to be quick because obviously we want to save the most discussion for the movies that we're talking about. So I did send all of you guys, I'm mainly looking at you, Kat, all of these things in advance, so you should have an idea of what we're about to talk about.
I didn't look at that.
So why don't we?
My paper rustling.
I'll start directly to my left.
Wait, where
that
did you
me?
send this?
With
I can
Andrew,
just
yeah.
look at it really quick.
Yep.
Okay.
So you're gonna have a moment here, like literally a moment.
I have them written down.
Okay.
you need
I
a
can
sheet?
I can go
Yeah,
from
I do,
Andrew to
actually.
Matt to you.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
let's
can
do
just
that.
rifle them off the top.
Okay. All right, so obviously we're going to be talking about our favorite horror movies of this year, but I want to know what you guys thought was your worst horror movie of the year. Andrew, I'll start with you.
It's a tie between Firestarter and the Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
Okay. So I also had I had Firestarter in consideration. Texas Chainsaw Massacre was not great, but I think it was far from the worst thing I've seen this year. Okay. All right.
I also go with Firestarter.
Firestarter was definitely bad.
Yeah, definitely
It was
the
pretty
worst
garbage.
of the
Yep,
year.
terrible acting.
That was horrible. Like
I think it's probably the worst use of a legacy character in one of these like reboot movies because they totally wasted Sally Hardesty. It was like it had some good kills, but other than that, no redeeming value. Matt.
Keith Thomas made a movie this year called Firestarter, and I did not like it.
Yes. I think if you listen to the episode that we all recorded on that movie, none of us liked it very much.
That was like a 12-minute episode where we said, this movie sucks, and then we gave up.
I want to make something clear before we keep going. This is all subjective, as is every movie of all time.
Correct.
In
None
my
of our
humble
ways
opinion,
are we ever going to discredit anyone for the hard work they put in for making a movie. None of these movies are, in general, bad.
Yeah.
We don't like them. Or we love them.
I think it's fair to
That's
say
a-
Firestarter
That's a very
is
good point.
bad.
I mean,
I always hate when people are like, this movie
great.
sucks. It's like, you can't say that.
Yeah, but when the actors and the
say that.
actresses in the movie mail
You
it
can
in,
say that, actually. But, yeah.
I
I
would
just know
say
it's opinion.
there are very
all opinion-based, this
few
whole
things I've seen this year where I felt like everybody was mailing it in.
It was a mail.
And I don't necessarily think that was the case for Firestarter. But, I mean, hey, I understand what Matt's saying. Like, people worked hard on these movies. It's just a matter of taste, right?
Yeah.
Like, some people might have liked these movies more than us.
All of our top 10s aren't what we think are the best movies. We're
our
saying
favorite.
Yeah,
our
these are
favorite top 10.
so
That's why they're
maybe
so much better.
I misinterpreted that, but these are definitely each of our favorite 10 movies of the year, right? Not necessarily the best made, but our favorite 10.
I wouldn't even dare to try and figure out what the best 10 horror movies of the year are. Who am I? Who am I? I'm just some peasant.
Well, you can
I'm not
Google-
gonna do
you
that.
can-
you can Google that, but who
Yeah,
are those
it's
people?
what the critics-
Because
it's
the critics think it's all
all-
subjective. It's what is your favorite top 10
It's
movie?
Crooked Cow Prince.
Correct.
Exactly.
Which we're, thanks to Andrew, we're all drinking right now. Looks like a Castle Island and JP Licks collaboration.
Jeez. That's pretty good.
But I actually watched two movies this year that I consider to be worse than Firestarter. The first of which is a movie called Amma, which was a Netflix
Oh,
exclusive.
yes.
And holy mother of God,
That
this
was in
movie
theaters.
sucked
It was
ass.
pretty. I mean, I didn't think it was that bad.
It was a PG-13
Blumhouse.
horror movie starring Sandra Oh and Dermot Mulrooney.
Sandra Oh is a very good actress. though.
She is a very good
think-
actress.
Have you ever seen
Grey's Anatomy?
Sideways? That movie's awesome.
Sideways
Is a
very
good
I
movie.
love
Yes,
Sideways.
I'll give you that.
Paul
but
Giamatti.
Sorry, when I think of Sandra
He's one of
Oh,
my
I don't
favorites.
necessarily think of great actress. I think of actress that has mostly TV level acting chops. Because all I think about is Grey's Anatomy.
We're not trying to ruin people's lives.
She did get stabbed by an
Do you think
uncle.
Sandra Oh's life is going to be ruined by my opinion of this movie, Amma, which
it might.
conveniently was
At this
Oh,
point,
very
it
might.
could.
believe it or not,
Oh.
this movie was produced by Sam Raimi. Swing
Yeah.
and a miss.
See, I
can't all
didn't
be
think
bangers.
It was horrible.
Terrible.
I think Firestarter
okay.
was
Can't all
worse.
be
Well, again,
winners.
these
We've already
are
spent too
all
much time talking about bad
opinions.
movies.
So Amma sucked, and also Christmas Bloody Christmas on Shudder.
I didn't
I
see
knew you
that.
were
Sucked.
going to say
That was
Sucked.
horrible. That
Sucked,
was
sucked,
terrible.
sucked,
I
sucked,
agree
sucked.
with you on
Couldn't even finish it. It sucked so
that.
bad.
No, we turned it off.
Okay, next topic. Andrew, what was your favorite horror TV thing of the year?
It's got to be the Dahmer series on Netflix.
Tight.
Easily. It was Stranger Things was close, but it's hard for me. I mean, it is horror, but Dahmer was the best.
Okay.
I mean,
Great performance by Evan Peters.
Yeah, he killed it.
Yep.
And it's just an interesting story.
Okay.
I suppose it's serial killers. That's my thing. I like that.
You love serial killers.
I
That's,
do.
that's
I don't
that's
love
the
them.
tray.
I do enjoy the mind behind it. I'm not a fan of people that kill people. Let's just get that out in the open.
Correct. Yes, that's fine. No one said that. No one said that about you.
You
That's
find
okay.
the activity and the stories of serial killers to be fascinating,
It
which
was well done.
that's not controversial to say
phenomenal.
because why do you think true crime stuff is so popular
Correct.
now? Because
It's just
many
amazing that
people feel the same way.
Could get away with that for so long.
Yeah. Okay. Kat, your favorite horror TV thing this year?
Can I say Yellow Jackets?
You certainly can, because it
I'll
was
say
in
Yellow
consideration
Jackets.
for me.
It did splice into the year.
Yeah, Yellow
Certainly
Jackets
did.
was awesome. Yeah, the whole series was great. I can't wait. They're gonna have another season, right?
It's coming in
Yeah,
March, and it's
March
already been
24th.
renewed for a third
Yes.
season.
Comes out on my mom's
Ooh.
birthday.
Fuck
Ooh.
yeah. Dude, I loved Yellow
gonna
Jackets.
Yeah,
Power
Yellow
drive
Jackets
through
was
that when it
great.
comes
It
out.
was either gonna be Yellow Jackets or actually Wednesday that's out. I really liked Wednesday.
Yeah, you did like Wednesday.
I've heard good things about that, and I know
Yeah.
you really liked it.
Wednesday
so.
was really good too. So yeah,
Perfect.
But, I mean,
Was it as good as Tuesday?
It's definitely not as good as Monday
Or Friday.
But yeah, no, Friday's better than.
I prefer a manic Monday.
Manic
Wasn't it a
Monday.
Manic
I guess.
Monday?
Yeah, yeah, Yellow Jackets.
But Sunday is
Wish
kind
it
of my
was
fun
Sunday.
day.
That's my fun day.
Sunday is Sunday.
Blat.
Matt,
Puns galore.
your
Mike,
favorite horror TV thing of the
I
year?
think we have a match here. I'm going with Shudder's 101 Scariest.
oh,
Horror
I mean, yeah,
Moments.
that's actually, I don't even know why that didn't even cross my mind.
What a brilliant,
Oh.
just love note to Bravo's original thing, and they brought in there's so many movies I still haven't gotten around to catch up on. Most of them are the foreign ones, but they created such a wonderful list, and just I was so happy with how it played out, the outcome, just the spread of everything, and it was I love Shudder so much. Fuck AMC for firing any of the people that they had to fire from Shudder for whatever fucking stupid reason. But long live Shudder. Long live 101 Scariest Movie Moments. Forever and ever and ever.
This was my pick as well. I mean, I feel like it was, if you know me, it's pretty easy to figure that out. But I loved that it was such a throwback to the original series. I loved that they released it week by week, and they didn't release it all at once so you could binge it. It was like you were kind of held in suspense every week, because I personally enjoyed like thinking about like, okay, like they
Every
haven't done this
Wednesday.
movie yet, they haven't done this movie yet. Like I loved that, the whole aspect of it. I loved the diverse cast of characters and people that they brought in to talk about these movies. It was almost as eclectic and iconic as the original series, so I thought the whole thing was great. It's one of two things that I have on my letterbox for this year that I rated 5 out of 5 stars.
Wow.
Was 101 Scariest Horror Movie Moments on Shudder.
So you don't just give away 5 stars very
I don't.
easily?
I don't give
I
away
do.
5 stars.
I always give 5 stars. Because 4 stars do nothing for, like, when you're doing, like, Google reviews, don't be giving 4 stars.
So spoiler alert.
Anything less than 3, I think, is like bad.
Yeah.
3, I'm like, okay.
Well, that's under 50%.
None of my top 10 movies on my list this year have 5 stars. The highest is 4.5.
I only gave all my top 10 5.
Oh wow! Okay.
I'm an all or nothing.
But I'm
guy.
like-
I'm like it's a 5 star or a 3 star. I'm one or the
I
other.
throw stars around.
I'm a star thrower too. I'm all about giving those fucking.
Yeah.
I
appreciation.
have to mention Cabinet of Curiosities by Del Toro on
that's
Netflix.
good, yeah.
Specifically, the viewing and Pickman's model. The whole series is very, very good, but those 2 episodes are among the favorite things I watched. My favorite things I watched all year. Excuse me. And I think Andrew, you mentioned it already, but Stranger Things 4, by far the strongest season. The most horror season so far, with the most compelling characters. And I can't wait to see
Vecna's
how it
easily
ends.
the best
Yeah.
character in the entire series.
Oh,
Without a chance.
bar none, aside from Steve, but bar none. It's just fucking incredible. So, anyway,
Because
that
of
was my
Russia.
favorite horror stuff of the year. Andrew, what was your favorite horror performance, or excuse me, your favorite performance in a horror movie this year?
So it's a tie because they're both from the same movie and they both did phenomenal jobs. Jesse Buckley and Rory Kinnear from Men fucking killed it.
Brilliant,
They
both of them.
played off each other so well. I mean, we're obviously going to talk about more going forward, but
Yeah.
they just, like, I can't give them enough appreciation. Pats on the back.
Smashed, just
Like,
smashed.
and that was hard to tell because there were some phenomenal performances this year. And I know one of yours is going to be one. I think one that we're not going to talk about, so I'll bring it up now. Stop me if I am, but Rebecca Hall's performance in Resurrection 2 was up there.
She was mine until I had my other one.
I was gonna say she
She would have been. See, when I saw that movie for the first time this year, she was
Top.
easily
Yeah, I mean,
running the
she
game.
killed it. Yeah.
Yep. Okay.
That was what I was gonna say was the girl from Resurrection that I
Oh,
watched.
Rebecca
because
Hall.
honestly,
Sorry,
she
I
was
didn't mean to.
Yeah,
no, that's
she
fine.
deserves her flowers.
No,
She
because
was
she
incredible.
Was, she
Yeah.
was Absolutely. What else is she in? She's in a
The Night
Town,
House.
the Night House,
Okay,
the
she's in The
Town.
Town, that's right, I know
Yeah,
her
she's
from.
in a
But
bunch of shit.
She was wild in Resurrection. Like, she was just,
Brilliant.
like, on
Yeah.
point, like,
Talk about
absolutely
just
insane.
another live wire performance from an actress this year in a horror movie.
Yeah.
Just incredible. Yeah.
I mean, I watched that really late in the game, but I mean, I watched that and I was like, holy shit. Like, she was just...
Killing it.
Yeah, she was this character, like, I forget even her name, but, like...
Rebecca Hall.
No, I know her name.
Her name in the movie is Margaret.
In the movie,
Margaret,
Margaret.
yeah.
Margaret, and then her last name again, the baby. I forgot the last
Yeah.
name. But,
Fucked up movie. Very fucked up.
oh, wicked fucked up movie, but, like, she nailed it.
I mean,
She
Tim Roth was pretty good in that
so
movie.
good.
Tim
The
Roth is also
monologue
good.
she delivers is
Yeah.
one of the most chilling
one to the other
scenes
employee?
in
Yeah.
of
She
horror.
tells you the
for
There were
whole
some
years.
serious
Yeah.
monologues this year.
Yeah, for sure.
Serious.
Yeah, so
Okay.
that's mine.
We're serious.
Rebecca Hall in Resurrection.
For sure. She
Very
was
nice choice.
crazy.
Sorry
and,
to take your pick.
No, that's
I just didn't
that's
think
okay.
anyone was going to say
That's
that.
all right.
Matt, I have a feeling I know where you're going to pick.
Yeah, I'm gonna give my flowers to Mia Goth for her just
Which one?
unbelievable. I'm gonna give her the trifecta
Yeah.
as Maxine, Old Pearl, and Young Pearl.
Yep.
Young Pearl specifically was the one that drove it home for me. The monologue she gives at the end of the movie had me just. Sarah watched me watch this, and she was like, "Wow!" And even she was like, "Wow!" Like that
Yeah.
was insane. And she didn't watch the whole movie, but she was just like, "Wow, that was crazy." And so, like, and the movie ended, and she kind of watched it as the credits rolled, and she was just like, "This
She's
is
like,
fucking
wow,
insane."
This is crazy.
And yeah, no, I'm not gonna go crazy about talking about it because we're gonna talk about it later. Mia
We're,
Goth
we're definitely talking
100% has my performance, but I did have Rory Kinnear as a close, as a runner-up, as well as Rebecca Hall. Too.
So I had Mia Goth on my list as well, but I knew that somebody else was going to bring this up. So I wanted to go a little bit out of left field here, and I think that this particular movie takes a turn for the better when this actor enters the movie. And I'm going to mention Justin Long in Barbarian.
Ooh, under the radar.
I like that
performance.
pick.
very good.
Interesting.
I just think, obviously, this movie, and we're going to talk about it. I mean, there's no doubt in my fucking mind that we're going to talk about it. When he enters this movie, it's such a hard left turn from the way the movie starts. And you're trying to piece together, like, how he fits into the story. And he's such a likable actor in general, but he plays such an
asshole.
unlikable douchebag that it's just like he's so funny. He's so funny, but he's such a dick.
sucks.
At the same time that you're like, you want to laugh at him, but you have to feel like, I know some asshole like this that I went to high school with.
Yeah.
Like, it's just, and he nails it. He absolutely fucking nails it. So I feel like that's one of the horror performances I feel like that's flying under the radar this year, and I feel like Barbarian had such a level of success, very much in part due to his performance in this movie.
He always puts up a very good performance in everything he does, and it's super underrated. Like,
Tusk.
so much you want about Tusk.
Yeah.
But even like
I
just
like Tusk.
even like
I do too.
I liked him in
Dodgeball. Like
Dodgeball is great.
he's
Jeepers
great.
Creepers.
Jeepers Creepers.
Was he in?
He was in an episode of the Creepshow TV series too. He was pretty good in that. Like,
He's just a very likable actor.
yeah.
That like it takes a lot for you to hate him in a movie. And
Yeah,
that's
of course.
what he did very well.
Okay. All right. All good performances. I don't feel like there's a wrong answer there. They're all good answers. Now, here's one that might be a little bit tough considering how much horror we actually watch. Andrew, what was your favorite non-horror movie
Dude, this was
of the
tough
year?
because I was like going through the list and I was like, oh, I feel like all I've watched is horror. It's either going to be All Is Quiet on the Western Front. The
Oh, I want to see that.
movie's so good. It's very good. Like you got to watch it.
If only Oppenheimer had come out this year, then that would have been
That
clearly
would have
yours.
easily been it. And then Top Gun was fucking fun. So.
I think you're the only one on the podcast that has seen this movie.
Yeah, I
Top
haven't
Gun
seen it.
Maverick. I haven't seen
Yeah.
it.
So like 3 nights ago too,
Yeah.
I watched Point Break and then I watched Roadhouse, and those two movies are so good. Point Break, the original Point Break, so good.
So good. Very
Underrated.
good. But yeah, Top Gun Maverick, I feel like obviously would be a pretty popular pick for most people. And All Quiet on the Western Front, I've heard very good things about. So
Amazing.
I got to check
Very
that
good.
out. Got to
Yes.
check it out. Kat, your favorite non-horror movie of the year?
Jackass for.
Oh my God! What a great pick!
Hell yeah! That's fucking rad.
Completely forgot about that movie. Dude, we saw that
Yes.
movie in theaters, and I
Yes.
honestly don't know if I've ever laughed
I know.
So
I saw
hard
that
in the movie.
too.
Like, honestly, the last time I laughed that hard in a
Yes.
theater might have been Borat, the original Borat. Like,
Yeah.
I fucking was dying laughing.
I
Yeah.
saw that with
I love
about
that movie.
15 people, and we
Yeah.
laughed our asses
So
off.
good.
I think we went with Seth and Christine. We were all stoned, and we were
Yes.
just like, "Oh my god, this is fucking
was
so
awesome.
great."
That was
It
my first
awesome.
post-COVID movie theater movie.
Nice.
Where the
Yeah.
fuck was I? Why wasn't I there?
I don't
Maybe
know.
you-
I
What
still
were you
haven't. I
doing?
still haven't seen Jack.
Oh man, you're missing.
Oh
out.
my
You gotta
god,
watch
you
it.
haven't seen it?
I don't know what you were.
Oh,
I don't know
it's
what
so
you were
good.
doing at that time, but I don't know. I don't know. I have no idea.
That's a
What a
shame.
great cat! Great pick.
Thank you very
Okay.
much.
Matt,
Thank you.
your favorite non-horror movie of the year?
This could be on par. Gaspar Noé's Vortex.
Okay.
Heartbreaking but brilliantly displayed film about Alzheimer's. Unbelievably good. The way he basically has it is you're watching two split screens the entire time that are documenting each person in an elderly couple's relationship. Sometimes they come together, but you're constantly following both of them wherever they are. Really, really harsh reality watch. But it was, from what I've seen in terms of just movies in general, best movie that came out this year, in my opinion.
Okay.
Wow.
Yeah.
Fair enough. I'll go last. This is a movie that came out at the beginning of 2022, a movie that Andrew and I saw in theaters opening weekend, and that is The Batman.
Yes.
Directed by Matt Reeves, starring Robert Pattinson as the Batman, and a bunch of other people. Colin Farrell, unrecognizable as the Penguin.
Yeah.
Paul Dano pulling an unfucking believable performance as the Riddler. And I am not... Matt and I were talking about this earlier tonight. I am not a huge comic book movie guy. There are certain comic book movies that I will see all the time. One of which, and actually first and foremost, are Batman movies. Batman has always been one of my favorite characters in any type of medium ever. I love Batman stuff. And I think this is... It's hard for me to still say it out loud. I think this is the best iteration of Batman ever put to film ever. Very slightly beating out The Dark Knight.
I was gonna say before The Dark Knight.
You say
When you
say better than the
better.
Dark Knight?
Better.
Wow.
And
Better
when
than The
you
Dark
when
Knight
you go
is,
back and revisit The Dark Knight,
Ooh.
the stuff that does not have Heath Ledger in it
Well, yeah.
does not hold up as
Heath
well.
Ledger makes The Dark Knight.
This is a better overall movie, and this is a better Batman story. The Dark Knight is a story about the Joker with Batman as a supporting character. And you get Two-Face, and it's a really, don't get me wrong, it's a great movie. This is a matter of like slight degrees. The Batman, I think, is, again, the best iteration of Batman ever
Better than
put to
Batman
film.
Begins?
Better than Batman. It's better than any of the Nolan trilogy, I think. Again, this is my opinion. And opinions are like assholes. Everybody has one, and to a certain degree, they all might stink a little bit.
I mean, Mike, I
my little bit.
like Hawthorne Heights too. So
I know, it's okay. and again, yes, you say what you will about Robert Pattinson as Batman. He looks like he's definitely listening to Hawthorne Heights in the Batmobile on his way to kick ass. But you know what? Hey, it's okay. It makes sense that there would be an emo Batman at some point. His parents are dead! For Christ's sake.
Yeah, I think time is money and our time is now.
Yep, exactly. Ohio's for lovers, baby. Ohio's for lovers. Okay, here's
I was waiting
one.
for someone to do this.
Here's one. Here's one that might draw a few answers, and I have a couple movies here, and we can just run through them real quick. What is your most anticipated 2023 horror movie release? Kat, you're flailing
Scream
around.
6?
Would you like to go
I thought we were just
first?
going in order.
Winnie the Pooh.
Oh, you bitch.
I'm
my
not a
movie.
bitch.
Well, you didn't seem
You're
like
a
you were
bitch.
ready. I'm sorry. You were like, oh.
You
I-
said
Oh, I
you
forgot
weren't
about the
ready.
question, but I had it in my notes. I just didn't.
was that also yours?
And there's another
I had
screen.
two.
Go
I had
ahead.
All right, so what else did you have besides Winnie the Pooh? Blood and Honey, by the
Evil
way.
Dead Rises.
Yeah.
Okay, I
That's
had that on my
mine.
list as well. Yep.
Mine is Winnie the Pooh and Scream. But I'm excited for Winnie
I mean,
the Pooh.
that's
Why
going to be a
can't
wild
we-
movie.
Yeah,
It's going
that's
to probably be
great.
terrible, but I can't wait.
No, I can't wait for that. Yeah. I mean, Scream, yeah, it's another Scream movie. It's fine, but yeah.
Okay. Matt?
I've talked about them on the show before, but one of them I knew has like a January release. That's Skinamarink, which I brought up I think 2 episodes
Yes, you
ago.
did. I forgot about that
And
one.
then,
Dinky Dink?
Yep.
Yep. Dinky.
And then Outwaters, which has no official release date yet, but
I
I
had that on my
imagine
list
will
as
be
well.
coming out in 2023.
Yep.
Salem's Lot, and
Had
then
that
I
on my
also have
list.
Evil Dead Rise,
Yep.
and I guess I'll throw The Exorcist reboot.
Oh,
And
see,
I
I
forgot
saw
this.
that, and I was a little hesitant to. I'm like,
Well, I mean, I'm gonna watch it.
of course, everyone's going to watch it.
I forgot about that movie with what's his face, Kylo Ren.
Oh, the dinosaur
movie?
65.
65.
65. There's
As in,
also
as in 65 million years ago.
There's also Beau is Afraid, the new Ari Aster movie.
Yes, they changed the title of that. It was going to be
Disappointment Boulevard.
Disappointment Boulevard. That's right. So I also had The Outwaters, I had Salem's Lot, and Evil Dead Rise on my list. I have a couple more that I want to mention really quick. First of which is Renfield.
Yes. Oh yeah, dude.
Which is the Nicolas Cage, the movie where Nicholas Hoult is playing Renfield and Nicolas Cage is playing Count Dracula. Can't fucking wait. Also, another Dracula movie, The Last Voyage of the Demeter, which this is a story about the boat that Dracula took from Europe over to the United States. Apparently, this story is going to take place entirely on the boat while Dracula's on there. Sounds awesome. I'm all about the classic.
2023 is the year
I'm
of the
going to suck your scurvy out of your body.
And a franchise that might come up later on in my movie rankings. There's a new VHS movie coming out called VHS 85.
Ooh.
With segments directed by Scott Derrickson and a bunch of other people. So I cannot fucking wait for that movie, as for all the other movies that you guys mentioned. And I think that's what we got for our other categories, aside from honorable mentions, which I think we're going to go to after we talk about our top 10, correct?
That'll be at the end.
Okay, perfect. So at this point, before we jump into our top 10, why don't we take a quick 90-second break for the final word from our sponsors in 2022. We'll be right back.
It's official. The critics' decision is in.
Spooky World is spooktacular.
Enter the new black hole.
If you dare.
Or the new horror House of Wax. This year, don't miss the real Jason, Bobby Pickett, or Alice Cooper. Phone the 24-hour Spooky World hotline. 508-838-0200. That's 508-838-0200. Spooky World is just west of Boston and haunts every night from October 1st till November 1st. If you had the nerve, you'd phone 508-838-0200.
It's American Horror Theme Park. Spooky World.
Don't be scared. I'm the super sweet monster with the super sweet new cereal, Count Chocula.
Biffle, here's the super sweet new cereal, Frankenberry.
But I've got chocolate sweeties for monstrous chocolate flavor.
Well, I've got berry-flavored sweeties for monster strawberry flavor.
Count Chocula.
Frankenberry.
Hi.
Frankenberry.
Count Chocula.
Sleepy Clovers.
Alive! It's alive! It's alive!
The new face of evil is going to scare you to death. Barrett's Haunted Mansion. It's killer this year. Then right next door to the Abington Ale House. Barrett's Haunted Mansion. Eat, drink, and be scary. Go to bhmansion.com.
And we're back. Again, hope you enjoyed those words from our sponsors for the last time this year. I'm sure they'll all be back next year. All right. I'm like smiling from ear to ear. I'm so ready to talk about this right now. I cannot fucking wait to break this all down. So we kind of mentioned it up at the top here, but we're pretty much just going to, we're going to each list off our top 10 movies. If somebody has it listed higher on their list, you're not going to hear about it, listener. It's going to be a surprise to us, and then we're going to talk about said movie when it reaches its highest point on the list. And again, these are all, I would say for the most part, purely horror movies, and we're just going to fucking let it rip. So,
Rip roaring.
Why don't we start in the same order that we did with all the categories beforehand, and I'll kick it off to Andrew.
All right.
What's your number 10?
My number 10 picture is a Finnish film directed by Hanna Bergholm. It is Hatching, and apparently nobody has it even on their list. Then.
Not on my list.
No, not on your list.
No.
All right. Well,
Talk to me about Hatching.
So, what I like about this movie is
I still haven't seen this yet, by the way. I have to admit. I gotta watch it. Yeah.
A lot of times you'll go on Facebook, you go on TikTok, social media, and everyone seems like they have such a perfect life and it looks really good, but that's never really the case. What people portray on social media is usually the furthest thing from the truth. If people look really happy on social media, they probably aren't. And this movie does a great job of delving into that subject and takes it to a whole nother level. I don't want to get too much into it, but basically the movie starts off, the mother is a social influencer. She does like a vlog of her family and how perfect their life is. Her daughter's a gymnast.
Don't give too much away because I'm watching.
This is all within like the first 10
it's
minutes
like
of the
the
movie.
general plot.
And it starts off like a bird flies in the house and just starts breaking everything like out of nowhere. And they catch the bird. The daughter picks up the bird. Should I let the bird outside? And the mom's like, no, bring it to me. She gives the bird to the mom, and the mom just basically crushes the bird's skull in the blanket. And that pretty much tells you everything you need to know about this mom. This lady is the worst human being.
She's not
I
good.
hate her so much.
I would say, I think you were the only other one that's seen this,
I've
right?
seen this, yeah.
I wanted her to die immediately when this movie started. And it's such a great way to start a movie because you immediately feel bad for the child, and you can see, like, just basically the overarching theme is the pressure that this mom puts on her daughter to be something she doesn't really want to be, and how that could possibly manifest itself when you bring into the supernatural elements of horror that allow you to be brought into in this movie. Because she basically, the daughter hears something screaming in the woods, and it's like the same bird, because she put the bird in the trash afterwards, and the bird wasn't there anymore. She hears it, she goes out to the woods, finds the bird, finishes it off just out of pity, basically, and you don't want it to suffer, and finds an egg. She takes the egg home, puts it under her pillow. The egg gets bigger and bigger and bigger, and then it hatches, and then the movie gets fucking wild. Like, the practical effects, the costume design, it's like, I think it's a puppet is the actual... I think it's actually a puppet that they use for the main...
So it's like practical effects.
It's practical effects.
I think almost entirely.
It's all practical effects. I don't think there's any CGI involved.
Sign me up. That sounds great.
And it just gets wild. Like, this is one of... I watched this movie and I was like, where the fuck is this movie going? And the more delve deeper, it just... This is what I like about... Like, so I've... Going through my top 10 list, I realized that I am a fan of mostly elevated horror. Not to sound pretentious, but to me that strikes a chord with me more so than what I heard referred to recently was elevator horror. You guys heard that terminology?
I heard highbrow horror.
So elevator horror is Barbarian, X, movies like that, where you could basically tell someone the plot in an elevator ride up like in 3 seconds, and there's the plot.
Okay.
Not to say that it's lacking other elements, but it was an interesting article. I think it was either, I forget what it was on. It wasn't Bloody Disgusting. It was some other. And I was laughing the whole time reading it because they talk about elevated horror and elevator.
Yeah,
And
that makes
I'm more
sense.
a fan of elevated horror. And
Where
I've realized
it's like
this.
a drama about something.
Yeah, because like to
scary.
me, like most of my movies are just these like long, drawn out, slow burn movies that I really like that have a meaning to them, and they're not like. Don't get me wrong, like I love those slasher, gory films, but these resonate with me differently. And I think, Kat, you don't have anything to say about it. Mike, you don't have anything to say about it. You gotta watch it. Matt.
I enjoy this. This is one of the last movies I watched this year, and I watched of what came out this year. I watched 32 movies.
That's crazy.
And which is, believe it or not, I could have watched more.
Well, there was a lot more.
And this ended up being, of the 32 movies I watched, number 12 on my list.
It's close then. Yep.
So it did end pretty high up. I don't want to give too much away. I think you kind of nailed a good little thing, but definitely check it out. It's worth it. It's on Hulu. It is all subtitles, but it's very good. It's not what you're going to think it is, and it wasn't what I thought it was going to be, and I was very happy with the way it ended. I was like, that was a solid fucking horror movie. So.
My one contribution to this, not having seen the movie, is can I offer you a nice egg in this trying time?
Yes, you can. Actually, do not give me an egg. I don't want your egg. I don't want it anywhere near me.
All right, so Hatching from Hulu at number 10 for Andrew. How about that? A Hulu movie to kick off Andrew's top 10.
I was shocked that movie was on Hulu, but it wasn't a Hulu film.
I have a feeling there might be some more.
Yeah, it wasn't.
There might be some more Hulu movies coming up.
This wasn't a Hulu
later
movie
tonight. Okay,
It
was released on Hulu.
This isn't
I
some
know what you
fucking
mean.
bullshit Blumhouse movie.
All right, Gato, you're number 10.
I'm gonna change it.
Oh, on the fly!
Shaking it up.
Wow.
Terrifier 2 is mine. So go ahead.
All right, so
Next.
it's a little higher on some people's lists. So we'll talk a little bit more about Terrifier 2.
Well, it didn't matter because it was either that or Men.
Okay.
Which I knew both of them would be higher up on
Well,
all of you's lists.
we don't know that for sure. So,
I know that for sure.
Okay.
I do, but
well, we'll talk a little bit more about Terrifier 2 upcoming.
yes.
Matt, your number 10.
Alex Garland's Men. What do you got for number 10?
My number 10, I think I have a feeling this might be one of the might be the only list this movie's on, is David Gordon Green's Halloween Ends.
That's
all
not on
you,
my
brother.
list, yeah.
Wow. Okay.
That's one of the few I didn't watch it.
Okay.
I should have watched it. I didn't.
So here's
Shame
what
on you.
Here's
You
what
should've
I will
watched it.
say about the David Gordon Green trilogy with Jamie Lee Curtis, John Carpenter returning to do the music. The franchise overall is these three movies overall are a disappointment. I think it's fair to say that, having distanced myself from the nostalgia that I got from the first movie. The first movie is good. I think it's the best of the three, but I think that Halloween Ends is the most interesting movie of the trilogy, and I think I have to give it points for that because it tried to do something different with the whole formula. I thought Halloween Kills sucked, by the way, and I just think that if you looked at the marketing for Halloween Ends, you would have thought that this whole movie was going to be this big, drawn-out battle between Laurie Strode and Michael Myers. And it is not that at all. And they really try and do something different with the movie. And I think that this is probably the most interesting, introspective, explorative Halloween movie since Halloween 3 Season of the Witch. Now, I'm not saying that it's on the same level in terms of quality, but I think in terms of trying to do something different and trying to take the franchise in a new direction and trying to break outside the typical formula of just Michael Myers versus Laurie Strode. This movie took the biggest steps in doing that.
Have you seen Curse of Michael Myers?
Which one? Which number is that?
6 with Paul Rudd.
Yes, I have. At some point. Yeah. Not for a long time though. But yeah, I think that Halloween Ends deserves some bonus points for that, and I think that it was unfairly reviewed as particularly bad because a lot of people. This is one of those blockbuster horror movies, right, where people, I think, were going in expecting to see a battle, again, between Laurie and Michael. And they didn't get that for the entire movie. In the last, 20 minutes, spoiler alert, I guess. Spoiler, fuck you. Deliver on that.
There's no spoiler.
But you'd think it was going to be the whole movie based on the way that it was marketed. So I just think that this movie was very interesting, and it was one of the more interesting movies I've seen in any sort of big franchise in a while. So for that, it landed at number 10 for me. Just edging out a couple of other movies that I liked probably a little bit better. Not by much, but I think this was just a little bit more interesting in terms of where people can take IP going forward.
Okay.
I kind of wish I had watched it, but my general distaste for most things Halloween movie.
I know, you're not the biggest fan, so it's okay. It's all right.
Halloween 3, I can get on that. But
all right, so yeah, Halloween Ends is my number 10, and you can watch that right now on Peacock. It is streaming still. Andrew, your number 9.
I'm going to go with Travis Stevens' A Wounded Fawn.
Okay.
Only Matt's seen that. You didn't watch that, did you?
Not yet.
Cat, no.
Nope.
This again comes back to my love for all things serial killer. It's about a serial killer who pretends basically that he is bidding on a piece of Greek mythological artwork at an exhibition. I don't know how he even got in there. I don't know where he got his credentials from. That part's a little vague. He doesn't get it, but he follows the woman that does purchase it for her client home and promises her things like, oh, my client actually wants to give you double them. She lets him in. He murders her. So that's the opening to the movie, but then you get drawn back to he's going on a weekend seclusion with his girlfriend at the time to some cabin in the woods, basically. His cabin in the woods. And I just really like the tone and the overall atmosphere of this movie. I think it's very well done.
What did you think of the 16 millimeter?
That was a lot, the way this movie was shot.
Yeah.
Really brought it home for me.
Very tight.
It was very tight.
Yeah.
It was very
claustrophobic.
Yeah, it was just very well done, and the acting in this
movie
was
70s movie.
Supreme. The general, there's a lot of scenes in this movie where nothing's happening, but everything's happening at the same time, and it really just, for me, so I watch a lot of movies on my couch in the dark by myself, so I can really just get into a really weird place with these movies. And to me, that's why I think I like these darker themed movies, because it's just it's just I'm in there. And you guys obviously haven't seen this movie other than Matt, and I don't want to get too far into it because it's a very good movie.
I haven't seen it yet. There's definitely I want to watch it.
Takes a fucking turn about 3/4 of the way through, halfway through, where it turns into this psychedelic trip that is absolutely wild and phenomenal, and the acting is so fucking good. The last 5 minutes of the movie, like the end credits of this movie, are very reminiscent to Pearl when she's smiling the whole time, because it's like almost like this some Shakespearean play that's just being played out. It's super artsy fartsy. It's just I really like this movie.
Yeah.
Okay, so A Wounded Fawn.
A Wounded Fawn.
On Shudder at number 9. Kat, that means that you're up for number 9.
So I'll say this. I'm going to take my little soapbox here.
Okay.
Ready?
We're ready.
This year has been exceptional for redos and tribute to a few of my favorite movies. Not all of them did them justice. Not all of them were that great, but it was great to see Ghostface, Leatherface, The Predator, Pinhead, Art the Clown, and the Sanderson sisters all in one year.
It's very well said.
Yeah, good job.
Right?
It's as if you wrote it.
I did. I wrote that earlier today before I had all the George ties. So
fair enough.
With that being said, my number 9 is the Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
You know what?
Right on.
I don't hate that. It's not on my list. But.
Which is not. It was not well done, but I loved seeing it.
You loved the movie.
I loved
That's all that matters.
watching it.
Yeah.
That's all it is. What do you like?
I liked, and it was, when it came down to making these lists, it was like, what do I remember about this year? And it was like, what is memorable? But even if it's horrible, like, was it a terrible remake? It was horrible. But do I remember the one scene on the bus where they're all taking selfies being like, you're canceled. You're canceled,
bro. Yeah.
I vividly remember that more than I remember, like, Barbarian. I don't know Barbarian, but I remember, like, the stupid Leatherface in the bus, like, with all the things. Like, that's what I remember. So I'm like, you know what? That's my number 9.
So all the things that you're saying, that's why I did not have it as my worst horror movie of the year. Because I feel like there were worse things.
There were worse things.
And I thought they were bad. There were very bad things about this movie, but there were at least some redeeming qualities.
Yes.
Like, the kills were awesome. The gore was awesome. I feel like what they did with Leatherface was pretty cool. How they essentially brought everyone to the town and reawakened Leatherface, I don't know if I thought was the best thing. But
if I was Leatherface as a villain, I would be embarrassed. Because he's so much more of a badass than he is in this stupid movie. But
did you like the movie or did you not like it? I'm a bit confused.
I liked it.
You said this movie was horrible. And then you said my number 9 favorite movie of the year.
More that I hate.
Maybe you didn't like a lot of the movies.
I hate the world that we're in right now more than I hate the movie.
We're getting very,
wait, so who had this as their worst? Was it you or
I had this with Firestarter.
Firestarter
was by far way worse. But
I actually sympathize with Leatherface in the fact that everybody that he killed was an unlikable asshole.
Oh, they all should have died.
Awesome. It was
Absolutely.
great. Like that at least made it redeeming to me. Is that these are all total fucking chodes getting killed by Leatherface.
Yeah.
Chodes.
Sorry.
Yes.
Continue.
No, that's what I was I think that it deserved a number in the top 10 at least. Because it's Leatherface in a movie in 2022, which is amazing.
The most egregious thing to me in this whole movie was the fact that they touted it as like a legacy sequel in the vein of the 2018 Halloween or
Scream. All of them. Yeah. They just name them the same movies, where it's like, it's not the same movie. Why are you naming it the same
It's
thing?
a fucking cash grab.
I said this at the beginning, but the reintroduction of Sally Hardesty as the badass like Texas Ranger, they wasted that. Like, she was essentially and it wasn't the same actress that played her in the first movie, obviously. I don't think she acts anymore, but like, it was a waste of the character. Because essentially she showed up for 15 minutes and then was just not there anymore.
Right.
I mean, and Matt, this is one of your favorite movies of all time, the original one. Like, what did you think about this?
I mean, I was very quick to just write it off.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
It's much like many of the other Texas Chainsaw sequels. The only one I really do enjoy is the second one. Remake's okay. The beginning is okay.
It's embarrassing. It's an embarrassing
But I write it off. The original stands so high on my fucking pedestal that I'll never be affected by a bad movie being made about it.
Understood. And you know what? Like,
And that's how people fucking should be. Like, quit whining, dude. Just pretend it doesn't exist.
Yeah.
Don't watch it.
Yeah.
Like,
Right.
fuck.
But I'm happy that you brought this movie some attention because I feel like it was like when it came out, it got killed, and then it's not that bad. It's really not like it's not the worst movie I've ever seen.
No. It's not the worst movie.
That's not what you said when we first watched it.
I can
Well,
grow,
it came
I
out in
can grow as a
January of
human being.
2022.
yeah, and I can tell you
people
right now,
can
that movie
change.
sucked from the get-go. I hate that fucking movie. So I didn't even finish that movie. I was like, I'm done with this movie.
Andrew, I
but
can
then
name-
again, the
I can
problem
name
is,
you-
here we go. I
can
like
name you
elevated
5
horror.
words.
I don't like stupid, just kill people horror.
I know, but
I
you
can
also
go do that myself. I don't
you
need
also
a movie
don't
to
like.
do
You
that.
also,
I have
you
3
also don't like
movies that
slashers.
I have ranked worse than this one.
I
Can
can
hear
name
it?
you
I want
5.
to hear it.
The
Obviously,
Seed by
Firestarter.
Sam Walker,
I didn't see
Hellbender by John Adams, Zelda Adams, and Toby Poser, and Firestarter by Keith Thomas.
Hellbender?
Firestarter's worse.
So you know what's wild is that it's like number 1 on like Rotten Tomatoes list.
Yeah, no, I hated that movie.
Dude, I never
Lies.
saw it. I
Lies.
just think that's what I
Lies.
don't understand.
Lies.
It's always 98% Rotten Tomatoes, and then audience score 12%. It's like, so who's writing this? Are you paying these people to be like, this movie's awesome?
Firestarter's worse than this. Umma's worse than this. Christmas Bloody Christmas is worse than
I didn't
this.
see either. So here, okay. So when I rank, also though, when you got to think about it, you want to talk about a movie that was like what movie we're going to talk about in 2021? Texas Chainsaw Massacre reboot or whatever it is. Fucking
Well,
on a
I
bus,
had
and
hope.
then it's just
On a
terrible.
bus.
It's like it wasn't a good movie.
But
Texas
here's the
Chainsaw
thing
Was
for
it
me.
the worst?
It was
No.
produced by Fede Alvarez, who directed the Evil Dead
Yeah,
remake,
so
which
it
is
had-
one of the
it had
best
high
remakes ever made.
Does that mean that this movie's good?
No,
Just
but
'cause
it
he
had
made it
high
good?
but
No,
it
but
made
Andrew,
people
so
think it was
if
gonna be
he's
good.
if he's doing the Evil Dead remake and he did Don't Breathe, like that's a filmmaker with some pedigree.
Right.
You would think that he's going to bring something new to this material, and I
He
feel like
did bring something new to it, though.
it was new.
There were good.
Like,
There were good scenes in the movie,
What was it that he brought that was
but
new to it?
ultimately, I thought the story lacked.
You said he did.
anything.
I didn't say that he did.
No.
All right, we're moving.
All right,
on.
let's
Yeah,
move
we gotta
on.
keep
I can talk
going,
about how much
man.
I
We
hate
gotta-
that.
No,
we got
it's
a
okay. See, this
long way
is
to
why
go.
it's going to be a long episode. So, all right. So, Cat's number 9 is the Texas Chainsaw Massacre,
Yes.
which you can stream on Netflix. Mr. Audette, what's your number 9?
This is going to be higher up on someone's list, I think. But Parker Finn's Smile.
Okay, we'll talk about Smile
Let me pass.
a little later on. Here's one of my other movies that I feel like is on no one's list. My number 9 is the Out There Halloween Mega Tape, a.k.a.
Jesus Christ.
I don't know how I didn't know that
WMF2.
you
I'm going to take
told
my
me that.
bathroom break.
Dude,
Yeah, no one's seen this.
if there is a movie more tailor-made for Mike Walsh,
It's Tremors.
I do not know of it.
Well, she's worse.
This movie is so fucking great, and you're all snoozing on it. If you listen to the show and you know my tastes, I mean, I love not only Halloween, but old school Halloween stuff. And the first movie in this series, the WNUF Halloween special, is meant to imitate, like, made-for-cable TV Halloween specials from the 80s. And it's great. It's one of my favorite rewatches every year around the Halloween season. And the sequel, which came out this year, I think it was 10 years later, this one perfectly skews 90s Halloween TV. And, like, not only that, but, like, unsolved mysteries and, like, Fox Saturday night, like,
So-
Alien Area 51 TV specials. You get all of that in there, along with, like 90s talk shows, like Jerry Springer, like that type of stuff. Like it's essentially like you put a tape in your VCR that your parents recorded for you in like 1994, and it's playing all the commercials and all of the shows that were on for like a 2-hour block. And so I just feel like it's just so perfect. But anyway, you can only get this movie. You can only order the DVD for this movie right now. It's not streaming anywhere. So I know a lot of people haven't seen it. But it has a very niche and very dedicated fan base. So I know you guys have
Top
not
10
seen
though?
this.
Top 10? I haven't seen this.
In my top 10, you bet your
So
balls.
you know what I'm hearing from all of this that you're saying right now, the words that are coming out of your mouth?
What?
It sounds like you like low-budget, poorly produced movies.
Poorly produced, my pink Irish
Well, poorly
ass.
produced,
This
but, like,
movie
it
is
looks-
not poorly produced.
It's grainy.
At all.
I like
But-
grainy. I like grainy.
You know what?
But there's
Okay.
also not
You know
commercials.
what else is grainy was a Wounded
you know
Father.
what it is weird? You do no, but you know what? You do like commercials and things, even if you don't know the commercials. Like the Yule log. You like the Yule log because there's commercials in that too.
I did.
There's always slightly. You like things with commercials. Have you been modified by the?
by the
Are
government.
you that old? Are
commercial?
you that old that you like commercials?
I have not. All I can tell you is I'm going to let each of you borrow the DVD that I have, and you're going to watch.
Guess what? I don't have a thing to
The Out
play
There
DVD.
Halloween Mega Tape. Well, that's because I don't know what to tell you.
You have a PlayStation or
Matt
Xbox?
does. So
I
you know
don't
what?
play video
I'll let
games.
Matt borrow it first.
I was thinking of buying video games, but I would only buy Nintendo Switch.
Anyway.
Just so I could play Mario Golf, because that game rocks.
You know what? I can be mean and make fun of you with your elevated horror as well, but I'm not going to. But
Mike,
you know what?
if
This
I
is
wasn't
just
making,
my particular
if I wasn't
taste.
making fun of you, am I even here?
That's true. Actually, that's a good point. Yeah. We're not here to be
Kat
nice.
also
We're not
told-
here to be nice to
Kat
each
also
other.
told me to make fun of you more because all I do is make.
Oh my God, she's fucking. Well, yeah, you do, but like in the same sense, she's also the easiest to make fun of. So it's like not even. It's not even a choice.
I don't know. Nobody makes fun
Anyway,
of me.
whatever, fine.
I should be the easiest person to make fun of.
Make fun of me all you want. You can all suck of my dick and watch the Out There Halloween
but
Mega
top-
Tape,
I just don't know how to-
aka
there's plenty of movies in my top
WNUF2. Order it on DVD, okay? Like I did.
So you know how you said like Hatching was like 12 on your list? Where was this movie?
I didn't see it.
watch
Didn't see it.
Damn
Yeah.
it! See, you can't even.
All right, that's okay.
You pick these movies that we haven't seen on purpose, so we can't make fun. No, I'm just kidding. I'm joking.
I mean,
It's a joke. I'm kidding.
oh my God. All right, so before we get to number 8,
I guarantee you, Kat hasn't watched this movie, so we can continue on.
Kat actually did watch it with me, but I guarantee you she was.
No, this my next movie. Like,
Oh yeah. All right, so that means we're on to number 8, and the first off is Andrew. What's your number 8?
Terrifier 2, and that's what I thought. So
Yep, we'll talk about that one a little bit later.
I already had Barger.
Yeah, we're going to keep
yeah,
going.
we're moving now.
We're moving.
So what's your number?
Oh, my number 8 is Pearl.
Okay. We're going to talk about Pearl a little bit later. See, this is why we can do this in this allotted amount of time. Matt, what's your number 8?
My number 8 is Luca Guadagnino's. Did I say that right?
Guadagnino?
Guadagnino? Bones and All.
See, this is
remiss to say
admittedly
I
this
didn't
is
see
one
it.
of the
It's too late
few
in the
big
year.
ones that I have not seen this year. So let's talk about Bones and All. Or you
No
can talk about it.
spoilers, though.
Yep, I won't spoil it. Mike, I'll grab one while you're over there.
Okay.
So Bones and All was a crazy ride. It's long. It was a romance movie, but it is an insanely fucking brutal cannibal movie, and it had such a twisted underbelly to what the story really was, and it really got the horror elements where it needed to be. It was super fucking gory. It was super, like, you're wrapped into the story the entire time. This was a late watch for me. I saw this the weekend, the Sunday after Thanksgiving.
So this is the most recent addition to your top 10 of the year.
One of the last, like, 4 or 5.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Well, maybe for, like, at least what I've watched this year.
Okay. Fair enough.
And I was just blown away by it. I thought all the performances were fantastic. The writing was great. The story was great. It's based on a novel, but it was just awesome. If you haven't seen it, definitely, like, you guys got to watch this one when you get a chance.
Absolutely. It's on my list for sure.
Yeah, no, it was really good. It's very bloody.
I'm into it.
Well,
It is a cannibal movie.
yeah.
But there's more that you don't see that's harder to digest. No pun intended.
I feel like this movie is 100% everything that I want in a movie. So I think
Me too.
I can't wait to watch the movie.
Yeah.
And I wish I don't know why I just didn't rent it.
Well, it's
you
20.
still
It's
can.
$20 to rent right
But I was
Oh,
trying,
yeah.
like, a
Give-
lot of
give
my
it a little
mindset
bit.
was
That's why I didn't rent it
$20
last night,
to
'cause I was
rent.
being
This
cheap.
is gonna
Yeah.
be on.
I can
This
go see
will
it
end
in the
up
theater for
being.
cheaper.
Was this A24?
Well, I don't think
I
it's.
don't remember.
I think it is, but it's not in theaters anymore. So you can't
No, this
see
is
it.
this is MGM.
Okay.
This will end up being on like HBO or something.
This turned into basically a fact of I wanted to make sure that I watched movies that I hadn't seen that came out early in the year.
Yeah,
Because I can't give this present over something that I should have already watched.
yeah.
Okay.
But I
when
should've
when it's out, check it out.
Oh, I
That's my
can't
number
wait.
8.
I can't
so.
wait.
Better than Suspiria, Luca Guadagnino's other horror film
Hmm.
that he directed recently. Yeah.
Much.
Okay. And I
That
think
movie's kind of what's the word? I don't want to say trash, but
I was
the
gonna say,
remake.
I feel like Timothy
Not a fan.
Chalamet is like a new like DiCaprio type of actor, like taking
Definitely.
on like interesting roles at a young age. Like I think he's going to be looked at as one of the next great actors in the next decade or so.
I thought it was Timothy Chalamet, but
Chalamet. He's
French.
French. He's French.
oh, French.
So we can just move right along from this. But my number 8 is Barbarian. So we'll talk a little bit more about Barbarian coming up in the future. All right, number 7, Andrew.
Pearl.
Yep, I feel like that's going to be a little higher on some people's lists. Catherine, you're number 7.
I have Speak No Evil.
And that's also going to be
Oh,
talked
wow,
about
okay.
a little bit higher. And see, all of a
Good
sudden,
pick though, Kat. Good pick.
all of a sudden, we're moving right along.
My number 7 is Eskel Volk's The Innocents.
wanted to watch that too. But
Haven't
I
seen
thought
it.
that was 2021. That confused me.
This
Now,
is
see-
one of the ones that was like a 4 and
Yeah.
21, and it was like, you know what, it came out over here 22.
Yep.
So this movie is about a group of little kids that have like kind of a telekinetic power, and they're able to communicate through each other. They're able to move things with each other, and basically the premise is that they're so young that they don't understand good and bad, and they're doing things that are bad, and they're just taking advantage of that power, and it gets really ugly really fast. I don't want to go into it because this is honestly, and
That sounds awesome.
This movie is a number 7 on my list for a reason.
This movie's also top 3 in a lot of lists.
This was one of the best movies
Yeah.
of the year for me, without question. It was
Sounds very
incredibly well
Stephen
done.
King-ish.
It is.
Yeah, okay.
But
I
it's
like
it's
that.
got
That's
it's like
good.
if Stephen King wrote a foreign movie.
Interesting.
Yeah. yeah.
Give me more. Yeah, give me
was,
more.
This was very
Give
good.
me
This
more.
is on Shudder. It's a long watch and it's subtitles, but trust me, if you get through the whole thing, you'll be satisfied. It was incredibly well done.
This is exactly what you said to me too. You just said it because I'm pretty sure I've scrolled past that movie and I was like, "That's a lot of minutes." And
I
know
think
you've
it's just
done that.
over 2
that
hours,
kind of
yeah.
scared me away because I was like, "What if this movie isn't even count for 2022?"
Yeah.
I just watched
No, it does.
No,
Yeah.
I would have given you that. Absolutely. If a movie came out in the festival circuit in 21, but debuted somewhere in theaters or in streaming service in 22,
But a
all
lot of
for
them
that.
are that way. But at the top it says 2021.
It doesn't
Usually
matter.
they're
It doesn't matter.
they
Doesn't matter.
know
You gotta
what
do
the other one says.
do the homework on that.
Dude, all the
IMDb.
movies I watch don't even have Wikipedia pages.
I had to look up.
IMDb,
I had to look up
dog.
like a couple movies.
I don't like
for
IMDb.
sure.
You need it. That's
Yeah,
the
yeah, you
that's
need it.
what
I
you
don't.
need.
I like Wikipedia. It's false
Wikipedia
and it's
is made
wrong.
up.
It's
Yeah.
all made up.
That's
yeah.
right. That.
All right,
It's easier to
so
read.
number 7 for Matt, The Innocents, which you can find on Shudder, correct?
Yes.
All right, so I know what 2 movies. You need to text me the 2 movies
All
you
right.
just said because I forgot.
Kat, your number 7 again
Innocence
was?
and
Um.
hers was
Speak No Evil.
Speak
Yeah,
No Evil.
Speak No
yeah.
Evil.
My number 7 was also Speak No Evil. So congratulations on Synergy. Andrew, your number 6.
What Josiah saw.
Yeah, nope.
Not on
nope,
my list.
not on my list.
All right. This was a Vincent Grasha movie. I don't know who the fuck he is, but he directed it. You want to talk about an Andrew movie?
Yes.
This is 100% an Andrew movie. It is the slowest burn of a movie you'll ever watch.
I will never watch
It
it.
is a very well
Way to be
written,
close-minded.
directed show and it movie because it's almost a show. So basically, what it has is it has a lot of it's almost like an anthology. So you have 3 siblings.
So it's like episodic.
3 siblings who were raised in like this southern town, and something happened when they were younger that their mother hung themselves in the backyard when they were like 8, 7, and 5 or something, and how that experience fucked up their entire lives. So you first learn about the I think he's the youngest son, but he may not be. It's his backstory. Like, he's a piece of shit. He's in trouble. He's like sleeping with a prostitute. He owes a lot of money to bad people. So
Just to fuck
this
up.
mob basically sends him to go steal gold from this tribe of gypsies.
Okay.
So that's like the first story. So you hear about his backstory. Second story is about his sister. Third story, actually, the first story, is about the youngest brother. But it's 3 separate stories. One about one brother, one about the other brother, one about the daughter. And the dad is involved in a way where he's possibly just a spirit or he's alive and he's influencing one of the children who owns the farmhouse that a oil company has offered them money to purchase. So that they all get these separate letters and they all meet up at the old farmhouse with their brother who's been living there a bit too long. It's a very just like the end of this movie's it's a very good movie. It has the Terminator guy. What's his name? We were talking about this the other night. It's like 2 first names.
Oh,
Arnold
Roger
Schwarzenegger.
William.
no.
Ricky.
Wait, in which Terminator?
He's the he's like the guy that metamorphoses is in like the second one.
Robert Patrick,
Robert Patrick. 2 first names. Yeah.
brother of the lead singer of the band
I'm
Filter,
like,
by the way.
He's very good as like.
Yes,
I was thinking
yes.
the dad.
Okay, now I remember.
This is don't sleep on this movie. Kat, you probably would never watch this movie. It's
I'll watch
far
this one.
too long and slow and
Then
boring.
I'll check it out.
That's what I said. I will not watch
This
it.
this ended up on like my ending of the year kind of like hurry up and
So you
watch.
didn't
and
watch it?
The 2-hour runtime
scared you off. Yeah. And it should, because it's very long and it's very
Well, I'm
slow.
glad that I didn't watch it.
But it's also very well done.
I'll watch it, but it's just yeah.
If
I think it's better than what's on my top 10, I'll mention it on the next podcast.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, I don't think it's inside your top 10.
Okay. And
I think it's underrated.
Name of the movie again?
What was the name of the movie? Josiah saw.
And you streamed it where?
Where did I stream that? That was on Shudder, yeah.
Okay. What Josiah saw on Shudder. Catherine, you're number 6.
Prey. Oh.
It'll be a little higher for some of us.
Okay. Wow.
Matt, you're number 6.
The Sadness, Robert Jabaz.
Ooh, I knew. I told you. I told you this is going to be on your list. I still have not seen this.
This was one of the earlier watches for me this year, and I was excited to go. Don't look at my list.
She's done that like 8 times. Your shit list. Oh, movies I've never seen. Cool.
Negative. No.
I went into this movie knowing that it was going to be crazy. There was a lot of hype about it. It was just basically, it's a gore fest Asian horror movie. I was like, all right, cool, I'm in.
Yep.
On the likes of Takesha Mike and, Audition and Ichi the Killer, this, that, and the other thing. So, this movie is fucking probably one of the most balls-to-the-wall movies that have come out in the last 20 years. There aren't many more movies that are going to be as violent, as depraved, as fucking just absolutely abhorrently repulsive as The Sadness. Shudder did their best thing that they could do by getting the rights to this to show this, because it was 100% on par. This is a zombie movie. This is a disease movie. This is a just splatterfest movie. And it was a very fun watch, but it was very not for everyone.
So I've heard similar things. I've heard the violence and the content are very upsetting and disturbing.
Yeah,
it's like as if the 28 days later, Infected did.
I wonder what that letter might have said. Maybe that was like a
weird
anthrax letter.
Things.
Is that like
it's like if 28 Days Later meets Last House on the Left.
Yeah. Yep.
No, it's a lot of like it's a lot of just abhorrent violence.
See, here's the thing.
Not
you
for
tell
everybody.
me about all these good movies that I should watch, and even for me, when you describe them, I'm like, that sounds like a fucking heart attack.
But it's
I'm gonna kill myself.
But no, it's like you watch it and you're like, holy shit, like, because it's also like really funny, because Asian horror movies have this way of being so over the top, but also being like so in your fucking face that it's almost like meta, that they know that they're being that fucked up. But it really does, as it all comes to a head in the end, you're like, wow, this movie is really that fucking insane. It was a monster trip, and this was, in terms of just being that over the top, it couldn't not make my top 10. So that was The Sadness. That's on Shudder. You can still watch it. If you love gore, if you love just being a maniac, this one's for you.
And that's your number 6.
Yes.
Correct. Okay. My number 6 was Pearl. Okay. We'll talk about Pearl in a little while, which means that we're on to number 5. Mr. Andrew.
Andy, my boy.
I went with
Mr. Andrews.
I went with Alex Garland's Men.
Okay.
Is that the highest?
I had that at 10.
You had that at 10, Mike.
So that means that you are the highest. It's
Yeah.
not.
Nice.
It was in one of my. It's one of my honorable mentions.
Honorable
Did not
mention.
make
Yeah.
my
Like,
list.
at least you're in the list.
The further and further I got away from this movie, I didn't like it as much as I liked other movies this year. That's all I can say.
Fair.
Andrew, talk to me about Men.
Well, I had my two favorite
Fitting saying for you.
actors of this horrible year.
I will say, I will absolutely agree.
Jesse
that
Buckley and Rory Kinnear killed it. And the dialogue and the script and the visuals and the just fucked up nature of this movie, it's so good. This movie's so fucking weird, and it's so well done. It's so well done.
It honestly still is
like
one of the weirdest
that
movies
goes
I've
away.
seen this year.
Like people are like this is someone that's a fucking highbrow. I like this fucking stupid horror movie because it had cool dialogue saying. There's something to be said about a movie where the sound and the volume and the music and just the general theme of it takes you to a whole other level that you don't give a fuck what the plot is. You don't care what's going on. if it because it could be this weird fucking like you liked Yule Log. That movie that plot was fucking wild.
So did you.
I know. That's what I'm saying. So you can like these weird movies that just are. It's obviously they have some underlying theme that like everyone wants to get into. That's cool and all, and I like that, and I think that's what elevates horror. But I also care about the fucking weird shit that's going on and this wild stuff and the weird like atonal sounds and stuff like that.
So
let's fucking go.
Here's what I'll say about Men, and I did very much enjoy this movie. It just
Mike very much enjoys Men.
Oh, that's a joke I just made at your expense. Good job.
That's why I brought it back.
Here's what I'll say about Men of Company in this movie is basically that I feel like this movie essentially is just like if you find me a pretentious person that thinks like this is the smartest movie of the year.
Never said this was smart.
And I will no, I'm not saying you.
Okay.
I'm saying like
I'm not smart.
Find someone that like, worships at the altar of this movie. And it's still a movie where a guy gives birth to 15 iterations of himself, and they come out of his fucking bottom parts in the last 5 minutes for like about 5 minutes straight, and it's the weirdest fucking movie. It's the weirdest part of any movie I've ever seen this year.
Yeah.
And I've seen Resurrection and Speak No Evil.
Yeah, what's not to like about that?
No, I know. It's just strange, but like if you find me one of those pretentious douchebags that's reading this movie like, ooh, this is like an existential, like, ooh, like...
Because it is, though. It does have a fucking element of some
deeper meaning, but
deeper
it's
meaning,
still,
which is,
like,
if you don't have that, then what are you?
Don't pretend it's
what
not
are
like
you? You're Scream 4, but even
horror.
Scream 4 has some deeper meaning.
With some deeper meaning, yes. That's all I'm saying.
Can we stop trashing Men? I love Men.
I'm not... listen, I think...
I just wanted to say
we know that you love Men.
I think it's a very good movie, so let's not say that the UHS fucking holiday special is better than it. So
Okay, Glenn from
NWA.
Letterkenny.
Hey, listen, this is subjective.
Yes, again, we talked about this.
I don't like you anymore, John. I'm kidding.
But no, I did thoroughly enjoy the movie Men from A24. It was a great movie, and we did
preface
see it in
it
theaters.
with
Yes.
the movie.
Yeah, which you didn't.
I thought it
The
had a
movie.
great slow burn. There was elements of it that I was just I thought it was so incredibly well written, and there were subplots to it that affected me incredibly deeply. Watching certain elements of relationship things going on, and it was that's just A24 doing what A24 does. They capture grief in a very incredibly like just a harsh way, and they throw you right into it. You're a fly on the wall in a room that you're not supposed to be in, and they always do that. But that I think that sways me in that direction. And then you have just great performances, and you have this crazy climactic ending, but you also have these incredibly creepy fucking scenes of her walking alone in the woods with this random guy kind of stalking her. So there was a very scary element to the movie.
Whatever the entity that Rory Kinnear is playing in the movie is clearly, I think, one of the creepiest characters. The creepiest looking characters, like, throughout the entire year. Right, I think not even close. But, I mean, just like, and you said it also, but like, okay, so Rory Kinnear was great in Men. So was Jessie Buckley. I feel like that flies under the radar.
No, Jessie Buckley was
like, she deserves as much credit, if not more credit. I think she did more in that movie than Rory Kinnear did.
So here, this leads me to my final question. Who did it better? Rory Kinnear in Men or Michael Myers in Austin Powers, The Spy Who Shagged Me? They both play multiple roles.
Michael
Myers
or Eddie Murphy in The Nutty Professor 2, The Clumps.
Yeah, even better, yeah. But I was thinking like white British guys.
Rory Kinnear he knocked it out of the park.
He's a great actor.
He was phenomenal. That's what drives that movie. That is a standalone. That's a Mia Goth performance. That's up there.
It's a strong performance in a very good year for strong horror performances, I think, by far. All right, so that's Men at number 5, correct? All right, Kat, you're number 5.
Resurrection.
Really?
Nice.
Wow.
Here we go. Let's go.
I'm shocked. I color me shocked.
Why?
Because I just thought the content in this movie would be disturbing to you, and I would not have thought this would have landed in your top 5.
We'll say today.
Because you did.
Because I did.
Yeah.
But
it's
also
recency biased. Yeah.
I saw you watching it, and I was like, I was listening. I didn't see. Well, I saw you, but I also was listening to watch it, and I was like, oh, that sounds like a really interesting movie. I want to see what that's about. Had no idea going into it. anything about what it was about.
Which is the best way to see this movie.
And I felt like I was captivated the entire time. Like, I was interested in watching this movie the entire time, which says a lot for me because I am the first person to be like, I'm going to throw on a movie. The minute that it bores me, I'm going to do, like, 5 other things around the house. And I'm not going to sit here and watch it. But today, I was, like, sitting and watching this movie, and I was like...
That is the best way to describe her movie taste.
I mean, that makes
literally,
sense.
yeah, literally. If I have any... it's ADD.
She doesn't even have the patience to make herself a sandwich, apparently.
No, I don't.
No,
But I had the patience to sit and watch this entire movie in its entirety in one take, which says a lot.
It's a lot of entirety.
That's why I was saying, what's her
entirely
face?
in too much entirety.
Rebecca Hall.
Rebecca Hall was my greatest performance.
Yeah, you did
killed
mention her earlier. Yep.
I couldn't stop watching her. I feel like I was constantly watching her because she was so all over the place that I felt like I couldn't stop watching.
She's a live
She's
wire.
kind of
It's
like
great...
me in a weird way that she's all over the place.
Well,
like
she's
not in the same.
Is she or isn't she?
But no, she definitely
What
has
the fuck is she?
has some problems.
It's a
but
great performance by a great actress portraying a crazy character, which I feel like a running theme in these movies this year is the unreliable narrator character.
Yeah. Or men giving birth to each other.
And Resurrection is a perfect example of that.
Yeah. So
that ending is totally up for interpretation.
Yes. Absolutely.
Wild.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. So I couldn't stop watching that movie, so that's my...
Who was the daughter in the movie? Because she fucking
I know.
nailed it too.
She was great.
She was great too.
The acting, and also can't forget Tim Roth. Tim Roth's phenomenal.
Yep.
Tim Roth's always good. He's a good actor. He's great. He's been in a lot of Tarantino stuff. Like
After I finished watching the movie, it had creeped in my top 10, and then I was given a reassessment. So that movie was very good.
It was very good.
Very fucking good.
It made it into my honorable mentions. Also having
that was actually
it was
for me.
It was a finale.
Hey, that was number 11.
Yeah, it's right there.
I will say, one of the movies that has made my list that we're going to talk about a little bit later has often been described as the most disturbing horror movie of this year. And I actually agree with Kat, because we had this conversation today, that I think Resurrection is more disturbing than that particular movie.
I 100% disagree with that.
Okay, fair enough.
Assessment.
All right, so that was Resurrection and your number 5, correct?
That was my number 5, yes.
All right, Matt, you're number 5.
I love it. Good job. 2 thumbs up.
X at number 5.
Yep.
Nope.
Wow, nothing.
And when I say nope, I mean, nope.
I love this movie. I know you guys were kind of indifferent about it. This was a love note to Texas Chainsaw Massacre. I thought that the performances were great. I love the story. I love the sleaziness. I love the way that Ty West shot this fucking movie. I love that he made it so fucking quick. I love that he had a sequel right behind it. I loved everything about this movie. I thought it was fucking fantastic. Mia Goth, she gave incredible performances. The violence hit where it had. You got boobs, you got fucking just
alligators.
All of it, dude. This was a 70s exploitation movie that came out in 2022 in widescreen theaters.
What I'll say, and I'll go to you, Andrew, after this. I agree with every single thing that you just said. Why don't I like this movie more than I do? I just don't. It just didn't. It didn't work for me. It just didn't work.
Here's my question, Michael.
Wanted it to
Have
work.
you watched it since Matt has spoken of this movie? All right, here's the thing.
I have not watched it since Pearl.
Let's put it this way, real quick. Matt, I'm going to give you a quick reach around. If there's ever been a person that has made me want to watch a sequel to a movie that I hated so much, more than you made me want to watch Pearl, and I didn't like X. And you talked about Pearl, and you talked about X in such a way that was just...
Well, didn't you rewatch Midsommar?
Yeah, I did.
After I told you Midsommar was fucking great.
And I did rewatch it, and you know what?
It's pretty good. But but I haven't even rewatched X. So what I'm saying is, I hated X when I first watched it, and I went, get this shit out of my face. And then you came on the podcast, and then you started talking about your love for X. And I was like, that's cool. Yeah, X. And then you started talking about your excitement for this movie, Pearl, that was coming out. And then I watched Pearl, and now, if I rewatch X now, I bet you I would get a much different opinion about this movie.
I agree.
That's all I got to say.
Okay. That was X.
That's it. Yeah, that's
number
all I got.
5, correct?
We're going to keep moving on.
Yep. My number 5 was Terrifier 2. Talk about that in a little bit.
Ooh, it's up there.
Andrew, you're number 4.
Nope. Yeah, okay.
We'll talk about Nope in a little while. Kat, you're number 4.
Scream.
All right, so here's your stage.
Screaming from the rafters.
I want to hear. Do you have another soapbox fucking speech ready?
Kat, you know what? Honestly,
Actually, that one spoke for this too.
This was more...
I wanted to. This is another movie that I wanted to like so much.
I didn't hate this movie.
No.
I didn't either.
There were movies that I thought were better.
Dude, old, grizzled David Arquette as Dewey. Fantastic. Give me that all day. But like, this movie wasn't great.
I wasn't
Give me the
watching
blonde-tipped kid getting chased and thinking he was in the house the whole time. I love it.
Yes, but you know what?
I'm surprised that this ranked this high because I didn't realize that you liked this movie as much as you do. So I'm excited to hear you talk about it.
Solely because it's a Scream movie. Like, the minute that I talked to one of my friend Jen, who knows how much I love the Scream movies, she was like, how was it? And I was like, you know what? It's another Scream movie. It has Neve Campbell, Courtney Cox, David Arquette, and they're like the big brothers and big sisters to what's going on. And what's going on is the same kind of Scream thing. It's one of those things that I said earlier that it pays tribute to Scream movies. It's not another Scream movie. Like, it's not another sequel with Neve Campbell as the victim and this and whatever. But it's like, it's kind of like a nod to like,
it's the passing of the torch.
We know Scream movies are a thing, but like,
See,
we know
to
we're
quote
never going to be
Kanye
able
before
to...
he was anti-Semitic, I'm gonna let you finish,
Yeah.
but I disagree.
I feel like it was a corny Scream movie, which is what it was going to be. Like, what did you think it was going to be? You didn't think it was going to be this amazing, like, earth-shattering Scream? No, of course not.
I thought it was going to be some trash movie, and I was actually pleasantly surprised, so it wasn't that bad.
It was still a
Top
trash
3, let's
movie,
go.
But it was still a trash movie, but it paid...
I still have my number 4.
It paid tribute to the actors who came before, but also did their own little actors with the other little actors that were in there. But...
Moving on.
Nice. I liked it. I liked it because...
I knew that was in your top 3, and that makes me
because
think about...
It's top
I know my number
five.
one. My number 1 is so right.
Okay.
It's so right.
Okay, maybe.
On my list of 32, Scream was 21.
Well,
I also had
Pretty
Scream
good.
low on my list.
It was
too.
in your top 66%.
So,
well, you guys are a higher brow.
Well, let me ask you this, Kat, right? So, being a Scream aficionado,
Correct.
A Scream queen.
aficionada as you are.
Oh, as it falls in all of them? Not
Yes.
very high.
Okay, so
I was gonna say
let me put it this way: what Scream movies do you think are better than this one?
The first one.
Okay. What else?
I mean, I don't know.
Two
I haven't
is
watched
the- two is
good
fantastic.
too. 3 is good with
I know what you
I
did
think,
last summer.
I think the first 3 are
Brother,
easily better than
really?
this.
Yeah, 3's
I
probably
was
my least favorite one.
recently watching all of the other Scream movies because I think you came in one day and I was watching like Scream 4 maybe.
That's too many
Yes.
Screams.
I would
I know,
go
it's
1,
too
2,
many.
5, 4, 3.
I don't know if I watched 5 yet. I have to rewatch 5.
That's the
wait,
one you
that's
just
this one.
reviewed.
I was like, wait, 5. I was like, wait, is there a 5? No, because this wasn't called 5.
But
I don't
that's
know.
the 5th one.
I don't know if
Well-
I've watched 2, 3, or 4.
Oh,
I
mean, two's really, really good.
Well,
is
it
great,
should have
yeah.
ended with a trilogy where Jamie Kennedy said like a trilogy, and those are the rules.
Well, they kept
blah, blah,
making
blah,
money,
and then
so
they
to
kept
speak.
going.
Yeah.
Yes, I know, but
It's another
But the whole thing is meta about itself.
correct.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
But so that's my Scream.
All right, so Scream 2022 at your number 5, right? 4?
4.
4.
All right, Matt, you're number 4.
I am. It's going to be higher. It's Christian Taftrup's Speak No Evil.
Okay.
You know what
Talk
happened is I
about,
moved one up. That's why I'm so far off on this list.
Now we're getting to the point where it's going to be less and less
Number
easy
3.
to hide. No, my number 4 is
Oh, you have 4.
my number 4 is Prey, which somebody
right.
else had Prey,
Well,
correct? Yeah,
I
you,
had Prey.
you did, right? All right,
way,
so
way lower.
I look at Prey, and it's wild to me that it took somebody this long to make this good of a sequel or a prequel or whatever the fuck you want to call it to the original Predator movie. Which is one of my favorite movies of all time. What did you think about this movie?
I loved it. I thought it was awesome. I liked to see the Predator again. I loved like the whole storyline with this. I know that we talked about it already on an episode.
We did.
So
we did an episode on this.
We don't need to go very far into this. So I liked it.
I just thought
that was great. I don't know why they didn't release it in the movie theaters, which we already talked about. But
yeah, I feel like this is the one if I had seen this movie in theaters, it would have ranked a little bit higher for me. I think it may have. But I think the fact that it took somebody this long to like look at the Predator franchise as a whole and say like this would be a good idea, that's a detriment. And the fact that it was released on Hulu on a small budget, that's why it's not higher for me, because there are definitely parts in this movie where like you look at the special effects and you're like, what the fuck? But dude, the story is tight. It's awesome.
The bear fight was sick.
The characters and the writing,
sick.
all of the I love that they brought in all of the indigenous people, like, to fucking
It was such a cool
battle
angle.
the Predator.
It was such a cool angle. Yeah.
Incredible.
You're seeing a Predator fight people that don't have guns. They don't have fucking.
And then in the third act, they bring in like the French fur trappers, those douchebags, and like it's like them and the Native Americans against the Predator. It's like the most awesome thing ever. I just thought it was such a great movie.
It's so good. It's a very good movie, and I agree with it being up there.
This is 20 right above screen.
I just think it's like, I think the best Predator movie since Predators.
Predators is the best.
That's a great sequel.
Other than one.
But like even like the one directed by Shane Black like didn't work. But this shows you where like
although Alien vs Predator like, pretty good.
The Predator franchise or like the Alien franchise can go. They can do different stories.
Here we go.
With
Knights of the Round Table with the Predator.
Who wouldn't watch that? Wild Wild West
or
with the Predator?
Or like a pirate on a ship, and then the Predator lands on it.
Pirates?
And then fire blood is blasting with cannons. It'd be fucking awesome.
So yeah, I just think
there we go.
And also the best dog character of any movie of this entire year. The dog that the main character has.
Oh yeah.
Name. Oh, great boy. He does.
We'll call him Spot.
Yep, Spot. Anyway, so yeah, Prey was my number 4, and it wasn't higher on anybody's list. So, Andrew, you're number 3.
Smile. All right.
Okay, we'll talk about Smile in a little bit. Kat, you're number 3.
Nope. Wow, way to hit thing.
Oh, actually,
literally.
Yep. Well, hold on. Well, Matt, what's your number 3?
Nope.
My number 3 is Pearl.
Okay, so I had Pearl at 6, and I think everybody else had.
I said nope, and then so your nope is higher.
Correct.
Okay.
I had Pearl at 3.
Okay.
I
had Pearl lower.
I had Pearl at 6.
Lower,
yeah, I think you're the highest with Pearl. So
Pearl, like I said, I gave Mia Goth her flowers for what I thought was Performance of the Year. I thought Pearl enhanced X because I saw obviously X first. I didn't see Pearl in theaters, so I got Pearl when it came out. I bought it, I watched it, and immediately after I watched X again, and then I watched Pearl again. And I was like, yep, this is fucking absolute money. These movies, I was just so blown away by Ty West with what he was able to pull off in a year or 2 years. I mean, he was doing this during COVID. He had only so much time, only so much money, only so many people to do it with, but he fucking pulled it off. Mia Goth gives a monologue at the end of this movie that is Oscar-worthy. And it is so... This movie is so fucking twisted and so fucked up. I was just could not believe that this story was a mainstream, full-blown theater release movie, along with X. As the tagline for X was, it's one fucked up horror picture. I loved both X and Pearl, but Pearl was my number 3. This was a hard 3.
See, I wish I felt the same way about X as I do about Pearl, but I just feel Pearl is like such a superior movie. I feel like it's not even close for me.
I don't so do.
I just think the aesthetic of the movie works so much better, where it's like shot like it's The Wizard of Oz. It's shot in that old school thing, and I just... Like Andrew said, maybe I need to go back and see X again. But I feel like Pearl...
I think if Pearl came out before X, I would have fucking loved X.
But I feel like that was the best part about it, was like that it came out after.
No, you're just gonna
see
watch
X, and
I
you're like,
yeah,
all
I
right,
need
like,
to rewatch
I
it.
mean,
but you watched X and you loved it.
But I did. But even still, like, then you go back and you watch Pearl, and you're like, wow, that was really good. But now you go back and watch X again, and you're like,
But also, did they?
Also-
They probably didn't even mean to do it that way. They probably just had these characters set up, and Mia Goth was like, "I'm gonna go fucking do this wild role like after, and then just fucking turn it into that, right?" Or was
I
was
think-
it filmed with
I
Pearl
think
first?
X
or
was made, and then Ty West had the idea to do a prequel.
That's what gives
and
Mia Goth.
Mia
her
Goth
fucking
co-wrote
flowers.
it.
Yeah, she co-wrote it, and she was probably the end all be all for Pearl.
And now there's going to be a third one.
I can't wait
Yes,
to watch that.
Maxine
Yeah.
in the 80s in LA, right?
I'm excited for that.
I can't wait for that one too. But I just feel like Pearl is just prettier to look at, and I know that like Ty West does a really good job like selling himself with like the like.
He does such a
Each
good
different
job at
era,
capturing, capturing a time frame. Yeah,
I wish I liked X more. I said this already, but I just happen to find Pearl to be a better movie. So, all right. So, Pearl at number 3 for Matt, correct?
Yep.
All right, so I meant to say earlier, Kat, my number 3 is also Nope. This was going to be my number 1 for a while. So
Wait, so we're the two top highest?
Yep, we're the top
or
highest.
What about you?
Yeah, I already said no.
Yep, so we're the highest.
That was my 4.
So why don't we talk a little bit about Nope? Andrew, you can go first. I know, because honestly, I'm surprised that
Nope
this was
isn't your
not your number 1 movie
I know.
of the year.
You saw this like 3
this
times.
was-
Crazy.
Jurassic Park, Shaw's, Summer, fucking
Jaws. The
Jaws,
store?
Shaw's.
What did I just
No,
say?
this
I'm
was
Shaw's?
like your summer blockbuster movie.
Shaw's.
Like this was the first movie that I was excited to see over the summer since like Jurassic Park or movies like that. Like, this movie brought back that summer blockbuster feel, and it fucking certainly did. This movie,
Blockbusters.
yes, it's a blockbuster movie. I fucking love Jordan Peele. The acting, the dialogue, the overarching story, and don't forget what's his name from Pitch Black and all those other movies that he's been in.
Glenn?
The dad, like the old dad that dies.
Keith
early.
David?
Keith
Oh,
David
Dad, the
is
dad.
so fucking good.
Pitch Black.
Pitch Black.
The Thing.
You know
The
what?
Thing,
I saw
yeah.
that. What is that?
For
They
some reason,
Live.
though, Pitch Black comes first into my mind.
What did
That's
I see? I
because
saw Pitch Black on maybe Shudder when I was looking through things. And
actually,
I
no,
was
he
like,
was.
oh my
I think he
God,
was in
love
Chronicles of
that
Riddick.
movie.
I don't even know if he
He's
was
also in There's
Pitch
Something
Black.
About Mary.
Can we do Pitch Black time?
Can we do just
I
a?
really like
I don't
Pitch
like
Black.
that movie.
You don't like that movie?
No, I don't like Pitch
Oh.
Black or the
Vin Diesel?
Chronicles of Riddick.
Oh.
Yeah.
Dude, those movies are awesome.
Mm,
I don't know.
I
I don't
love
know why
Vin
we're
Diesel.
talking about
Vin
those movies.
Diesel
Triple
looks like
X?
human.
We were
Oh,
talking about
sweet.
Nope, and then we went to Keith David. This movie, like, if there's ever a movie that you need to see in theaters, it's Nope.
Oh yeah.
And I feel like
Well, now you
this
can't
movie
do that.
now, this should in like
You
30
blew it.
years from now, this should be like Jaws, where it's re-aired in theaters, full experience. Except this time, literally, you're
Boobs.
going to be getting sucked up into an alien spaceship because it's going to be 2050. Shit's going to be wild. Probably is already going to happen because there's definitely aliens. But this movie hits on so many different levels. Jordan Peele has definitely put himself in the realm as one of the top tier horror, just general.
He is.
Actually, I don't even care what he directs. I wanted to watch Wendell and Wild. Did anybody watch that on
No, I
Netflix?
want to. I haven't seen
Because
it
it's
yet.
him and because I've been
and
watching
Keegan-Michael Key. Yeah.
So, dude, Key and Peele is one of the funniest shows that's out
Really
there.
is.
So continue.
I was going to say, so I obviously picked this movie as well, and I just think that this is one of those movies that I walked away from, like walking immediately out of the theaters, and I was like, I don't really know if I liked that movie.
It was so
And
different.
the more I thought about it, like after the fact, I realized that like there were certain things like I understood more the more I distanced myself from the movie, which I think is a very pretentious way to look at a movie, right? Because you should be able to watch a movie and just be like, that was fucking awesome. Not
you don't
like,
like it?
not
No,
like
here's the
I
thing.
like I should
You
have to
went
think
into
about
that-
this movie
yeah.
for 2 days afterwards.
You were thinking you thought it was going to be something that it wasn't.
It wasn't.
And that's
No, it
what
wasn't.
that brought in. And then when you realized that it was everything it could be, and it was.
How many times did you see it?
I saw it once.
I saw it twice in theaters.
I saw it
And
once.
the
I saw
second
it-
I
time
thought I
was
saw
so
it
much better.
3 times.
That movie, I
You almost
loved
saw
that
it
movie
three
every
times.
time I
I
saw
saw
it. Like, you're right. I'm surprised it's not my top 3.
I liked it better the second time I saw it, but it still landed 18 on my total list.
It's the
Wow.
most. It's the most. It's the
Wow.
most sci-fi.
Yeah. So
I'm
I
not
love.
a big
I
sci-fi
love,
guy.
See, I love anything
I
sci-fi,
do
I'm
too.
not a big
Sasquatch.
sci-fi
Give me
either.
cryptozoids. What the fuck? They're
No,
called.
I also
ew,
think that
cryptozoology, gross.
this also has like two of the most horrifying and interesting segments of any horror movie of the year.
It
And I
does.
think the Gordy's home sequence is the most interesting thing that is horror adjacent, some horror, barely horror,
No, that's horror.
slept next to horror.
That's horror.
Yeah, that's
That
100%
like
horror.
I left the movie and that was the part I thought about most. Like not the alien stuff, which I feel like was
But that confused me.
almost a detriment, right?
Yeah.
Like okay, why am I thinking about this one specific part the entire time? But I feel like there were certain things that didn't specifically work for me about this movie. Like I love this was definitely Jordan Peele's Jaws. I heard you guys talking about that earlier, but like it's a big, huge horror / sci-fi blockbuster, and I feel like those types of movies, whenever they come out, especially if they're directed and written by Jordan Peele, I'm going to see them 10 times out of 10. And I feel like I just have to give this movie some credit for being as bold as it was, even if some of like the big swings didn't necessarily land with me 100%. Like I think there were things about it that didn't it's not his best movie by far, but it's a very, very good movie.
What you're missing about it, though, which makes this movie so good, is that when you watch it a second time and you realize that that spaceship that you're seeing the entire time is actually just a predator stalking its prey, and you realize that it's moving like a shark and it's doing everything it can to hide.
It's a
completely
lot
different
more
movie.
I
Completely
enjoyed it the
different
second
movie.
time.
Yeah, because I was like, okay, this is just a predator It's not a spaceship. A spaceship.
All right, so we have two left here, and we need to
move along.
Skedoodle. All right, that means that we are on to our number 2.
My number 2,
Mr. Andrew,
is Speak No Evil.
All right.
Is that the highest it is?
I believe so.
Seems
Yeah,
like
I
it is.
had it at 7.
This is my 4. I think did Cat have it too?
Cat also had it at 7. Yes.
This might be the most bleak, depressing, upsetting movies I've ever watched. It made me feel things that I don't think a movie has ever really made me feel.
Yeah.
And for that, this movie is straight up the most horrifying movie I've ever watched. It made me feel so bad about my life that I wanted to just give up. It just tears you apart at every possible moment. And I feel like a lot of people haven't seen this movie, so I don't want to spoil it. But if you want to watch a movie that makes... Like, if you've ever seen The Boy in the Striped Pajamas, watch this movie and tell me which movie makes you feel worse.
That's one of your favorites.
I love that movie. That's one of the best movies that's out there. It's so sad.
So I had this at number 4. I turned you guys on to this movie. I watched this movie during my honeymoon because I was sick. And luckily, Sarah's cousin lived in Vermont. They were able to meet up. I was like, all right, I'm going to hang back in. And I was like, you know what? This movie just came out. I want to watch that. You know what? And it was crazy. Sarah agreed to watch it before she knew what it was. And she didn't end up watching it.
Well,
and I'm so glad because this was the most horrific movie I watched this year. The most horrific movie since I think I watched Climax by Gaspar Noé. I think it's since I watched Irreversible by Gaspar Noé.
It's up there.
There's this really, really, really tough element to it of just realistic violence and horror that comes into it, and that's really what it comes down to. And I don't want to spoil it. I know I already spoiled it on a past episode, but for the people that didn't get to that one, it is so incredibly fucking brutal. And if you have kids, it's going to be that much worse. But some people are thrill seekers, so if you want to go watch that fucking movie, that's going to make you really give you...
Well, that was like when you guys were like, you shouldn't watch this movie. And I was like,
yeah, and I'm surprised you watched it.
I'll watch it.
And
I'll
then
watch it.
And then you weren't even that affected by it, which is...
Yeah, you were the one that was least
honestly,
upset about it.
Resurrection was more upsetting than me.
Resurrection
I agree.
By
with
far.
that. I think 100%.
Maybe it's just where we are with having kids. I don't know.
I don't even
one
think
thing's
it's
a
that.
dream
It's
and
just-
one thing is just reality.
To me,
and
it was
just doesn't do
to
the
me
same
it
to
was
me.
like there's the reality that was in that scene, and it was
There was the explicit human nature of takers and givers in that scene.
Yeah. I know.
And that scene was,
It was-
just taken by the takers.
I was gonna
and the
say,
givers were
so-
fucked over.
I felt bullied. I've said that I think anytime I've talked about this movie on this podcast, I felt bullied by that movie.
I haven't felt as bad for a group of, like a couple that is being just since like The Strangers. Like, I felt so bad for the couple in The Strangers. I felt equally, probably way worse for this couple.
If you've seen the movie Funny Games...
Oh, that's even worse. Like, it's a depressing movie. I don't want to talk
If you've seen Funny Games, you'll and you like that movie, which I do, because it's so well made.
Yeah.
You'll like Speak No Evil. I do recommend it. If you have not seen Funny Games, take your chances. If you have seen Funny Games and you hate Funny Games, do not
Original
watch
or the
Speak
remake?
No Evil. The original only,
Yeah,
of course,
okay,
the German one.
If I may offer my thoughts on this movie, I honestly, the entire time, I just was waiting for something to happen. And obviously, I saw it at a point where you knew that there was going to be some sort of a sadistic twist at the end of the movie. And I feel like Kat was in the same position when she watched it, where she knew that there was going to be some sort of like crazy thing at the end. And the end was crazy. It was a very disturbing, bleak section of film. That's how I'll describe it.
That's European shock horror at its utmost.
That's like a European Hereditary.
That's what I'm saying is, like, you look at Funny Games, you look at Martyrs, you look at Irreversible. Speak No Evil sits pleasantly in that group of European horror.
It's a crazy fucking movie. And, I mean, essentially, it's the last 20 minutes until it's not horror. It's not a horror movie until
it plays as almost like a black comedy throughout most of it, until it kind of doesn't, and then it really doesn't.
It gets really uncomfortable,
and then it gets
really quickly,
really uncomfortable,
and
then all of a sudden you realize you're already so deep in the belly of the beast.
It's more the human elements of horror that are in that movie that make it so bleak. Like, everybody knows
the small
those
things.
types of parents and those types of psychopaths that are out there, and they're all around us.
Few movies show regular human beings being as evil as casually as they are.
Oh yeah,
and I hope that paints a picture.
Dude,
for
one
you.
of the best scenes in that movie is when his wife cuts his finger, and he goes, "Well, you're a doctor. Can you fix it?" He goes, I'm not a doctor.
Yeah.
Oh, I was lying.
I was gonna
like
mention
just
that.
so casually, just lies about it. Like,
Yeah.
and then it's like. At that point in time, it's like...
Well, then you're like,
it's
who
time
the fuck
to
are you people?
It's time to fucking
You know what
leave.
the most frustrating part about the entire movie for
The
me
stupid bunny?
was the fact that they could have left so many times. It's almost comical how many times they could and should have left. And they just
didn't.
chose not to
You know
because
why?
movie.
Because they chose that they are weak.
And the best thing about this is that...
from the very beginning of that movie, when he takes his chair and then just goes swimming in the pool...
I hope I'm not stepping on either of you by saying this, but the scariest part of the entire movie for me is when he says... Because you let me.
Because you let me. Why did you do this to us?
That's the most horrifying part.
And he did from the very beginning because he took his chair at the pool.
No, don't spoil it. You'll never know what happens unless you watch it. But I promise you, when it does happen, you are going to be... You're led into it, and you kind of have an idea. But I promise you that even if you think that you know, and you may know... It's so much fucking worse than you are anticipating.
You don't know. It's one of the most upsetting, depressing final 15 to 20 minutes of a movie that I've ever seen. It's up there with The Boy in the Striped Pajamas.
Depressing.
And that is one of the most depressing movies I've ever watched.
I will agree
And
with
I
Kat.
love it for so many reasons because it is so perfectly wrong.
The most disturbing part of this movie, Resurrection is more disturbing than this movie.
Here's the thing: resurrection never gonna happen in real life. Well, you're not gonna have some baby be born out of Tim Roth's body.
Don't say that.
I agree with Andrew.
You know what's more horrifying? The situation that this poor family went on their stupid vacation.
You'll never look at a pair of garden scissors.
I'm never gonna look at a rock.
Moving on. So that was your number 2.
All right. So now that means we're on to Kat's number 2.
My number 2 is...
Hocus Pocus 2.
Hocus Pocus 2.
fucking nailed it. Which means the number one is going to be.
Don't say what my number one is.
Get out.
So, are we really
So,
Out.
yes.
We're really right. Oh my god. All right, keep going.
My number 2 is Hocus Pocus 2 because of Like, I love Hocus Pocus. I love the Sanderson sisters. I loved that they came back and they made a movie about it, and that's awesome. The only thing that beat that this year was my number 1, which I won't talk about yet. That's what I said.
Which none of us
Which is Choose or Die. So
no, that's in my honorable mentions, actually.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah.
I'm shocked.
Have to mention here. So, I'm so surprised by this because I feel like
You're
as an
surprised?
objective viewer, the sequel to Hocus Pocus
was terrible.
Was so bad. I honestly, I
pooped my pants.
Yes, I was close.
Was just so happy that they made a second one. I had no idea that they were gonna do that, but I was so
I was hoping
excited.
they wouldn't.
It's not.
Mike,
well, you can't expect it to be as good as the first one. That's the.
See,
that's
I didn't think the
problem
first
here.
one was good, so that's the problem.
First one is a
The
classic.
first one's nostalgic.
It's a classic.
Yeah. I mean,
it's nostalgic.
it is,
You
it is.
can't say
But
no.
I
to
don't
Hocus
watch
Pocus
it
1.
like every year. But if it was on, it's like
You would
If
watch
I was
it.
like
Right.
12
It's
years
like
old
Twister.
for the rest of my life,
If
I would.
Twister's on, you're gonna
It's like
watch
Twister?
it. Yeah, if Twister's on,
Twister.
you watch it.
Okay,
I love
that
Twister.
wasn't the movie I was going to go
I
for.
hold
Or
Twister.
Gladiator.
I would've
If
said-
Gladiator's
like-
on, you watch it.
I would have
Like,
said
mean,
like
Twister in
the
that same
Grinch.
level. You love
So-
the Mummy.
The Grinch.
I hold Twister on the same level as I
The
do
Mummy.
The Mummy, the Academy Award-winning Brendan Fraser starring classic, The Mummy. Twister is in that same regard. You know why? Because they both have theme park attractions based on those movies, which, I mean, like, hell fucking yeah. We went on both. The Mummy ride, the
know what's
Twister
better than
ride.
the
Which
Mummy
one
ride?
was better?
Mummy,
Earthquake,
by far.
yeah.
Earthquake,
The
and the
Twister ride's
Indiana
really
Jones
not
ride
anything to
in
write
like
about.
1992.
Indiana
was
Jones
sweet.
is-
All right, so
Disney.
you were rocking Hocus Pocus too.
Yes. So Hocus Pocus 2 is great because it's just nostalgic
Good man,
and
good man,
it's just I love every minute of it because of my nostalgia for Hocus Pocus 1. Solely.
Okay.
Like it's not saying that it's a great
Oh, this
movie.
is your favorites of the year.
It is because
You
I
have
was
no-
looking
you have to
forward
explain
it.
yourself.
I was looking forward to it so long. It finally came
Did
out.
it pay off?
Absolutely.
I can't.
I will
I'm
watch it
sh-
again.
Do you think
I
it
will
was a
probably
bummer
watch
that-
it every year.
I'm just like wondering what your number one is now. I'm like in my mind.
I'm
No, you-
also completely just aghast.
No, Hocus Pocus 2. I was looking forward to it forever, and it lived up to his expectations.
Having watched this movie with you, were you at all surprised that most of the jokes involving the Sanderson sisters were fart jokes?
No.
Yeah, because it was.
I like
It
fart
actually
No, I'm
was.
not. I'm not.
Yeah,
Farts are funny.
I mean, farts are funny, but like every single joke the entire time.
Yeah,
I
I,
don't-
mean, what is this?
Is that really true?
Well,
I
were
mean, I
they
only
just
watched
with-
it
were
were they
once. How many
basing it
times
off
did
of
you watch
Sarah
it?
Jessica Parker's fart face?
Do me a
Based
favor.
off Terrence and
Do me a
Phillip.
favor and rewatch Hocus Pocus 2 and tell me how many fart jokes there are. There's going to be
Okay.
at least 10.
Make it a drinking game.
Yeah, we could.
Ooh, let's do that.
Let's do that, yes.
It's your favorite thing to do.
Yeah, I love
As-
drinking games.
My buddy Otis the Hound Dog, the official hound dog of America's Hometown Horror, decides to be a
The
total
spooky
dickhead upstairs.
Hounds
He's
of the
excited
Sun.
about everyone. He's excited about everyone's number one.
He's
Sounds
excited
of the
about something.
Hound.
He's excited
Right.
about something. So, okay, Cat's number 2 is Hocus Pocus, which you which you can find on Disney Plus.
Which
Disney
also
Plus.
Disney
I called. So
Disney
Yes.
that's a
Plus.
thing.
Andrew did call it. All right, Matt, you're number 2.
Terrifier 2.
Wow.
I think you're the highest.
Yep.
That
You're
is
the
the
highest.
highest. Go ahead.
floor is
Oh
yours,
my
sir.
god. So me and Andrew got together. We saw this movie in theaters when it came out. We were in a packed theater. We had an incredible experience. It was so gory. It was so insane. I've watched it 3 times since it's been out of theaters. I love Terrifier originally. I love All Hallows Eve. I love Art the Clown. Since Art the Clown came out, that was in 2013 when All Hallows Eve came out. I saw that probably in 2014, 15, before Terrifier came out. Because I remember seeing Terrifier on movie sites and being like, oh, fuck, that's that guy. And I remember watching All Hallows Eve and being like, like, Jesus Christ, like, what a fuck. You guys have seen that, right?
Oh, my God.
I have
Yeah,
not
okay.
seen the All Hallows Eve one.
Oh, Jesus.
I have.
Have
Yeah,
you?
it's-
Oh, my
it's,
goodness
it's fun.
gracious.
It's
okay,
fun.
yeah, it's
Yeah, it's
out
fun.
of control. And it's got 2 other short films by Damien Leone that are unbelievably over the top. So definitely recommend watching that. It's on Tubi.
You love to.
Dude, it's free.
Yeah,
Like
I know.
it's free.
Freeze for me.
And then Terrifier came out, and I remember watching, and I'd probably seen Terrifier 15 times since that movie came out. And then Terrifier 2, finally, like it had so much steam going in. I think they got fucked by COVID, and this, that, and the other thing. Production companies dropping it. Bloody Disgusting finally took it on. So me and Andrew took it upon ourselves to go into one of the limited releases that were luckily right in our backyard in Kingston. And we went and saw it, and we had I don't know, what do you call it, a 95% full theater?
That place was fucking packed.
I
haven't seen a theater packed in like 3 years.
Yeah.
And that was packed.
That was
awesome.
packed.
Yeah.
And
That's awesome.
we sat through a 2-hour and 36-minute showing.
Wow. Yeah, that is a long movie.
And I loved every
And
minute of it.
we were right in it, and we sat through the moans and the groans and the laughs. And you know what? It was funny. It was entertaining. The special effects are the best special effects of the year.
I don't even think it's close.
I mean, when you
Yeah,
talk
it's
about
not
practical
even
effects
close.
are unbelievable.
When you talk about Art the Clown, he's
relentless.
up there as like the scariest clowns that have ever been.
He's up there as the scariest.
He's up there with it.
He's up there as the scariest
Pennywise.
horror entity of all time.
He's terrifying. He
He's
exactly. He is
literally
terrifying.
like I've said that, and I've like watched this, and like Sarah watched the first one, and she was like, "There's something wrong."
There's
with this
scenes
movie.
that I've watched in that movie, and I've never felt more just uncomfortable, but not necessarily.
There's something
when like the little girl is just shitting her fucking brains.
But like, well, that's the
It's
thing
so
too. Like
fucking
you
good.
add this new character, and it's just a little girl
That
who is
such a payoff.
so scary.
She's so good.
Yeah.
I don't know
The
who she
scariest
is,
part of the
but
movie.
she should be
Yeah.
up for a fucking Emmy because she fucking kills it.
It's just this movie was so over the top. The violence was unmatched.
Outrageous.
Outrageous.
Unmatched. It was unrelenting. It was abhorrent for the sake of being abhorrent, and just
Matt.
salt. Literally, no joke.
On your
salt
wounds.
on the wound.
On the salt and the bleach in that one scene.
That was honestly the most disturbing
Dude,
thing
and
I've
their
seen in
face
any
just
scene in
hanging
any
up,
movie.
and
in
their
the
mom
entire
comes
year.
in.
Well, there's the
She's
one
still
thing
alive.
though. There's a falsified dream mass shooting scene. Like this movie really.
That reminded me of Nope with the Gordies.
Well, that was the thing. Like, there's a scene in this movie that does like kind of fabricate a mass shooting, and it kind of, and that was early in the movie, and it lets you know that there's nothing is off limits. Like we are going for.
I got to tell you
everything.
right now,
and it was just the most violent, but it's also the best, just on brand, new, like as in NU, like new metal, 80s horror movie of all time.
Oh, it's you put that in like 80s horror films.
It would have been.
It's fucking phenomenal.
There's a reason.
If my
if
my viewpoint on horror was different, Terrifier 2 is the one that like creeps up to number 1 for me because that movie
There's
is
just no
perfectly
rules.
beautiful.
Yeah.
It's so 80s. It's so beautiful. It's so fucked up. It's so gory, and they just do so many things that you think that shouldn't be done in any movie, and they just do it anyway.
That's the mass shooting
and they
scene,
basically
yeah.
go, "Hey,
Yeah.
go fuck yourself." And
If
you're
I
like,
may.
I fucking love it.
Yeah.
This movie feels like Damien Leone stepped up to the plate and said,
Dude,
"There's
this movie is
probably a
Maniac.
chance
This
that
is
I'm
Maniac."
never gonna make a movie ever again."
And here we
in
go.
my life,
and they made what? I don't know, fucking $20 million off a $200,000 budget.
it got not
Cheers to
nominated,
that.
but
I like Cheers.
submitted for an Oscar.
But
Yeah,
would you
free.
put this? Would you put this with Maniac? Like that level of just fucked.
Oh, like William Lustig's Maniac?
Yes, like Maniac. Like this
Of
is
course I
just
would.
out of left field. No one expected it coming. You came in. You took.
Are you saying
conquered,
William
you fucked.
Lustig's Maniac that was just totally sparred by Tom Savini's special effects with Damien Leone's writing, directing special effects? Yes, I would. Very much.
Like the original. That's not the original.
We're on borrowed time here, gentlemen.
Damien
You wanna
Leone
keep
was
going?
involved in that.
No, he's the one that
Oh,
Terrifier.
yeah, I know that. I was like, wait a minute.
All right.
We can continue on, but yes, I agree with that 100%. Yeah, it's the same fucking wild movie that it is. It's a deep, dark character study. I love characters. And
So,
it's not really a character. It is a
Michael's
character study.
Terrifier 2 at number 2 for Matt, correct?
Yes.
My number 2 is Smile.
This
Okay.
is my number 9.
We'll talk about
That's
Smile
my number 2 too.
very shortly. Andrew, your... Wait, hold on, wait. How do we do this now if we have...
Do anyone have that higher?
Well, we go to Andrew's number 1.
I had
My
Smile
number 1.
higher.
Yeah, Andrew's number 1, right?
Andrew's number 1.
I'm confused.
My number 1 is an Australian film with Macedonian languages spoke. It's
Yeah, I didn't
It's,
have that.
you didn't have that?
No.
It's You Won't Be Alone, directed by Goran Stolovisky.
Hardo.
This might be
None of us had that, right?
Hardo. Yeah, no.
This might be
not
one
at
of the
all.
most beautiful films I've watched in a long time. It basically is.
Is it
so,
shot in Australia too?
I don't know.
Is it shot in Australia?
It might be filmed in Macedonia, wherever that is. That doesn't.
Mesopotamia?
That doesn't even matter. None of that matters. What matters is that this movie is. It pulls on your heartstrings, whether you're a male, a female, old woman, child, young woman. Doesn't matter.
What about
It's
old
basically a story about
Oh man, look at my life.
a woman in 19th century Macedonia
Okay.
who has a baby. Her baby is born, and in comes a witch and says, I am allowed one twit. Twit must be what the baby
Idiot.
is. Or a baby, just the baby.
Okay.
So she gets to make a little pact with the mother for the
Okay.
baby
Okay.
at 16 years old.
All right.
The mother is also terrified because now that she knows that her baby is a witch, that the commoners or the townsfolks scoop her up and burn her alive. So she brings her to some weird cave where she can't escape, and she raises this baby, where she basically just goes there every day, hangs out with her, doesn't really do anything a mother should do, and she's the whisper mother. The whisper mother thinks that she can just keep her there and no one's going to harm her. And then in comes the witch, dressed as a falcon. She is a falcon because the witch basically can... So they have this part in their chest where they can rip it open, and any corpse that is around them, they can take over that dead corpse. So be it a human, whatever, they just scoop up their organs, stuff them inside them. All practical effects, all very well done. They scoop them inside them.
Okay.
And they become the dead corpse. So it's basically this young girl who has been raised by her mother, who was scared that she's going to be taken by a witch, and then a witch takes her at 16. The girl can't speak. She's barely audible. She's fucked. And it's just her trying to find her way as a human. And she takes on the body of a woman. She takes on the body of a young child. She takes on the body of a man. And none of it really works. And then she finally takes on the body of a young girl. And basically, I think the general thesis of the story is that if your parents care about you, take care of you, raise you properly, you can be anything you want to be. It's just a very, it's...
I have
this
no
a
idea.
horror
This is
movie?
I
your-
have
this
no
is your
idea what
number
the fuck
one.
you just said, dude.
Yeah, I'm very confused.
Wait, so
I
I
don't
understand. So,
understand.
but this is your number
What?
one.
This is-
I feel like Billy Madison, like to be like, I award you no points. May God have mercy on your
So
soul.
it's basically the coming of age of a witch, born into being a witch, and they are
is a really
the witch. The
random
witch
Andrew.
can take over any. So she can kill somebody, and she takes all his organs out of his dead body, stuffs them into her chest,
This is like a
and then
Jeepers
she takes.
Creepers.
She's a shapeshifter. She
Yeah.
can be whatever she wants to be. But this girl has never been raised properly because her mother knew that the witch was coming for her. So she was hiding her in this cave, raising her basically like a wild wolf. So the girl can't talk, she can't act, and the witch is always over her shoulder, telling her, "You're never gonna fit in. They're gonna know you're a witch."
Okay.
And it's just a very
Interesting.
deep character study of what it's like to just be a human. Like
To be a feral
everyone
human,
just
yeah.
think not even a feral, like just what it's like because she thinks, oh, it's so easy to be a man, men have it so easy, and then she realizes it's not easy to be a man, and then she becomes a woman and she realizes this doesn't
Well,
help
it's not
either,
that much easier
and then
either.
she realizes that to become a child who is properly raised by a like a
person.
But then the witch takes her husband. Like, it's a fucked up, very well done. It's one of my. It's such a slow burn drama, barely horror adjacent. Movie, but it's so good.
It's okay. It's your number one movie of the year.
It should be, because it's amazing.
Give me the title and where you can find it again.
You Won't Be Alone.
Okay, and where can people stream it?
I think I rented that on Amazon.
Okay, You Won't Be Alone.
Wasn't on your list?
Nope. I'm putting a
I
pin
don't
in
think it was on any list.
I think Mike had it on your list.
All right, Kat, you're number one.
Smile. Everyone knew it. No, Mike knew it. He said it red teeth. Because everyone else thought it was Scream. But that's fine.
It was my number 2.
I thought it was Choose or Die.
Let's go.
No,
I had this
that's
at my number
honorable
9.
Okay.
So this was also
Your
on my
number
top
9?
10.
Andrew,
Yep.
did this make
Oh,
your
it was on
top
my
10? Smile?
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
Andrew, what was
It
it?
had to. This was
3.
your
Smile was 3.
3 for you.
So,
All right. So it made it. This is the one movie that all of our top 10 made it.
I had no idea going into it what this was going to be. It's a slasher film, which is right up my alley.
Is it?
Not really.
Is it not? I mean,
It's more of a psychological thriller.
Psychological thriller is also up my alley because I like psychological thrillers.
Definitely
and
not a
slashers.
slasher film.
This is much more of a thriller than.
But if you
than
think of the being as a slasher in a sense, like whatever the like.
I'm gonna go pee.
Well,
I literally have to go pee.
So.
All right, well, give us
Let's
your.
not call it a slasher.
Whatever you think it is. Yeah.
So, I thought it was the most unique movie I've seen in a very long time. A very different movie that had a different storyline. It had some substance to it. Like, I actually enjoyed watching it, and it wasn't a storyline that I've ever seen before, which is awesome. Where it's like, we did we already?
We did Smile. I think so.
I was just thinking that. I was like, I don't remember if we did. We did,
but
right?
it's
Yes.
okay. It's okay.
No, I didn't want to be like spoiler alert, blah, 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 but I just going into things. But yeah, I thought honestly, like the whole premise of it with It Follows vibes and all the other things, and yeah, we did. We
did Smile like 3 weeks ago.
Yes. Okay.
It's okay. It's
all right. That's what I was just wondering. I was like, wait, but I thought that it was the most unique movie I've seen in a long time, and for that, it gets my number 1.
It was scary.
It was very.
I
it was
think it's
very scary.
I think it's not even close. Like by far the scariest movie of the year.
Yeah. Like
the movie that scared me the most.
Yes.
Yeah, in terms of
like
just
Andrew
being
here,
like sitting on the edge of your seat, like you're like, oh,
Yeah.
Why?
Yeah, you're sitting on the edge of your seat. You're like waiting for the next person to be killed. How they're going to be killed because you know it's going to be brutal.
It reminded me of Sinister, and this is what we talked about in the podcast too. Like it was like a lot like Sinister, a lot like It Follows.
Yeah,
it kind of mashed those two things together.
It was so much like those movies.
But it was so much better than I thought it was going to be. And I remember saying, like, oh my god, like, this movie looks fucking stupid, like, and just wanting to skip it. And then I watched it when it came out on Paramount, and I was like, wow, fuck me, I should have saw this in theaters.
Right.
So here's my question to you. So we talked about this on the podcast where we discussed Smile. Do you think this movie is still better or worse than It Follows? Which is clearly a movie that came out earlier that this movie was inspired by.
That's really hard to say.
It is a hard...
Okay, well, like pick one. You're a podcaster.
I think
not an open heart surgery.
Smile's better than It Follows.
Stop.
All right, so Andrew, I'm not surprised because I know Andrew's not a big fan of It Follows.
I might say It Follows.
I think I'm not a big fan of It Follows. I fucking love that movie.
Yeah. I think I like It Follows better because I like
It Follows better as well.
I love the soundtrack, and I remember seeing that in theaters.
Mike, you also like Micah Monroe
being
better,
like,
so.
whoa.
Well, Micah Monroe's, absolutely, a beautiful.
But I remember seeing It Follows in theaters
specimen.
and having that first scene where she's kind of like the girl stumbling around on the street, and then you have that music like that like 80s like
the
synth
80s
music come in,
really
and I remember like nudging my buddy, and I was like, this is gonna be good.
Yeah.
Music is a huge
that is
part
a huge part of it. Here's the other part of it too, though. It Follows hit me in a way that Smile didn't.
Yeah.
The difference with Smile, though,
Because
is
you've had
that
a lot of STDs.
there's a lot of so
That was a bird.
So when I had watched like the previous
Walk right through it.
short film to Smile, like the short film that made this movie possible, it brought this movie to a whole different level. It Follows is phenomenal.
All right, sorry, go ahead. Yes, the short film. Yes, I'm listening.
I already said.
I did watch the short film as well.
It's
because
very
the short
nice.
film was very scary.
I'm
And,
laughing.
yeah.
Sorry, laughing. My bad.
The also the 4K,
I also don't have an STD, so that other movie didn't scare me.
the 4K Blu-ray that they have at Best Buy includes the short film.
Oh, okay.
That's
Yeah.
You understand that, like, It Follows can be a scary
I
movie
had
without
to.
having an STD.
Andrew, I had to.
You had to.
You set, and I needed a
It
spike.
Follows is terrifying, but Smile was the first movie since It Follows that scared me as much as it did. So
Because,
Well, in the same
because it's
sense
about
of-
mental illness versus
Yeah,
STD.
well,
it's
the mental
also-
illness aspect was very carefully constructed and cared for. It wasn't exploited.
no, it was very.
It was brought into a light that was very appreciated and cared for and gently dealt
manipulated.
with.
Yeah.
Not manipulated at
Well,
all,
not
but like
manipulated, but-
dealt with.
So
And
then you're saying in that sense of Pearl at like the end where she's smiling and she's clearly has mental problems. That's ongoing.
What movie?
well, it's two different.
Smile. No, in
So
Smile,
how is
because
that
in
how
that
is that
sense, then like everyone's smiling because they have like their own.
It's nothing to do
problems.
Well, no,
Pearl,
that's
though.
just.
But I mean,
the
that's also the
That's a
demon
different
thing. But
movie.
it's
I
the
think
same,
what you're
it's
trying
the
to say
same
is there's
kind of-
lots
it's-
of characters in these movies that have mental. Right?
Correct.
Yes.
Yes, it's
Okay.
all relative. Like it's
Okay.
all relating to everything.
Oh my God, yeah. I feel like it, and you know what? Like a lot of movies this year have that element to it.
Right.
Which makes this year one of the best horror years of all time.
All right, so wait a second.
It
Where
does?
are we?
She just did
Mine
number
was
one.
Smile was my number one.
Okay,
That's where we
Matt,
are.
you're number one.
Barbarian.
Yep.
Zach Kreger.
All right,
Oh,
let's
baby.
talk about
I think I should
Barbarian.
rewatch that because I just don't remember.
I had this at number 8. Where'd you have it?
I had this at number honorable mention. So
Oh, wow.
maybe probably 11.
I am shocked, but Kat, do you have Barbarian?
I
in
didn't
your top
remember
10?
watching it. So,
So there's the thing.
no. What was it, in January?
Watch.
It
No,
came
that was
out
like
in
August or
August.
September.
Well, I also like. I get these things because you had a baby inside you when we were watching these movies, so you probably.
I was just kind of like,
yeah.
okay. I
Yeah,
went to the
it's
movies.
okay.
I ate popcorn. Probably had. Oh no, you had the red Slurpee probably.
See, I think if you can remember the red Slurpee,
Red
you should
Slurpees
probably remember the
are
movie.
awesome. They're the best.
I don't.
But that's.
I
just
think if
my
I
point of view.
rewatched it, or if I even saw a trailer, I'd be like, "Oh yeah, that."
I mean,
movie.
okay, well,
It's a hard
okay,
movie to
so
forget.
We
Just
got
a
off
lot of
topic
weird
here.
shit in this movie.
Big,
I feel
big
like-
fucking
I
surprise.
don't know, whatever.
Barbarian, by the way, I feel like is one of the biggest not only horror movie, but like movie success stories of the entire year. The fact that this guy directed this movie and it came out and it had this much success, I feel like is just fucking incredible. So I have to give the movie a certain level of success or
Applaud.
applause. Beautiful right there.
This is one of my favorite movies
So-
of that genre.
But I mean, like, you know, like, I don't necessarily, it wasn't one of my absolute favorites because it was my number 8.
Listen.
But like, it's a very good movie. It has a lot of twists and turns, and I think there's a reason that I mentioned specifically that when Justin Long enters the movie, I think it becomes a completely different movie. That's really.
I'm
cool.
gonna rewatch it before we podcast.
This is gonna be one of these movies where
mean, we're podcasting
I talk about it and
right
you guys
now.
watch it and you're like, okay. A long time ago, I used to get high with my buddies in high school, and we used to watch a show on YouTube called The Whitest Kids You Know. Have you ever watched it?
Nope.
You never
Show.
seen The Whitest Kids You
No,
Know?
That show's
no. This is
very-
why when
very
we
good
watched
show.
this movie
See,
initially,
I knew all about that before.
You've seen it?
I've seen that
Okay.
show.
This
I always
is
forget
one of
how
the
much
sketch comedies.
younger you are than us, Matt.
That's
And
no, but
I-
that's
at-
no,
at
but
the
that's
time,
that's
I
It's
said-
not that
No,
much
it's
younger
not
than
I
you.
said it at the
This
time.
is like mid 2000s,
Okay.
like 2000.
But I said it at the
2008.
time. I said Matt would be good to have here because I feel like he knows this guy, and I feel like he'd have a better opinion on this movie, and he
But
did.
Andrew knows what he's talking about.
But Whitest Kids You Know is a sketch comedy show that
Great
came
sketch
out,
comedy.
run by Trevor Moore, who just passed away in the last couple of years, R.I.P. But Zach Kreger was one of the writers and stars of the show. It's sketch comedy. Dude, look it up on YouTube. It's fucking hilarious.
You know who else does really good sketch comedy? Jordan Peele.
Yeah, I've heard of it. I've heard of that, Andrew. Thank you very much.
If you guys have not seen Whitest Kids You Know and you like some good old offensive comedy, sketch comedy, Whitest Kids You Know is your shit. Zach Kreger, he ended up going on to make a movie called Miss March, which was a colossal failure. I thought it was funny. I was stoned. Whatever. Then he came out with The Little Engine That Could.
Okay.
That movie was called Barbarian.
Oh, all right.
That movie came out this year, and I had heard about it earlier in 2022, and all I was told from any source was do not watch a trailer, buy a ticket, go and see it. That's what I did. And you know what I did? I bought a ticket. I went. I sat in a theater alone with 0 fucking people
Even better,
on a
bro.
Thursday afternoon at 4:30. And I watched the movie alone. And I was blown away. And if you haven't seen this movie yet, it's on HBO Max. It's on or what HBO, whatever the fuck HBO you have. You have to watch this movie. And you cannot look. I think the least you know about this movie, the better. It is absolutely fucking hysterical. It's absolutely fucking horrifically insane. And it is also low-key one of the most disturbing horror movies that were released this year. Somehow.
Yeah, I think you're right. It's a fucking weird movie.
It is
It's a
an
fucking
absolute
wild
trip
movie.
of a movie. And it jerks you in several different directions. And the disturbing aspects come from very subtle parts. But if you watch it again, you see those parts. And then you realize, okay, this movie's actually fucking disgusting. And it really is the most horrific movie that came out this year. And it got thrown right in our face like a wiffle ball. Just right in front of us. And we just were sitting there
Lapped it
waiting
up.
for it. Barbarian, Zach Kreger. I listened to the Colors of the Dark podcast where they interviewed him, and he talked about it. And I'm just the way he talked about constantly trying to write and come up with this idea and this, that, and the other thing, and going through these like fire hoops of like obstacles that he had to hop through. I'm so happy this became a movie because it was fucking awesome, and it had just so many twists and turns and so many different things, and I just this was my number one for the year. It was the funnest watch I had. It wasn't too much that I felt like shit. It was fun enough that I was like, yes, this is the shit, and it was fucked up enough that I was like, all right, yep, this is the horror movie of the year. So that is Zach Kreger's Barbarian, my number one pick of 2022.
Nothing wrong with that.
My number one pick of 2022 has changed a couple of times, and I feel like if you know my tastes a little bit, Andrew called it earlier tonight. So not only do I love anthology horror, but oh boy, do I love crazy. And the craziest anthology horror movie of the entire year is VHS 99.
That's sick.
Fucking yeah. Yep. Andrew called it. Are you the only one that called it?
I would have
think so.
never.
I called his too.
I do know you love
Kind
VHS.
of.
Like
You
at the
called
last
mine.
end of the.
No one knew anyone's
I called
actual.
Hocus Pocus too, though.
I did.
But
Nailed
not
it.
as fast.
Nobody knew
It is
anyone's
funny. I
actual
called
number
Cat's
one.
Cat
No,
called mine.
number
Yeah.
one's no one's got the number one. Actually, I got VHS 99. I
Andrew
nailed
did get
I
that.
nail
Yep,
Oh, okay.
He did. Yep, he called it.
Nothing wrong with that.
Now there's anything wrong with that.
Guys, it's a great movie. I mean, I don't know what else to say.
I should watch it.
It's
It's insane.
I almost did today.
It
but
is-
I
it's
watched
sickening.
I watched that Knives Out
It's-
movie instead.
VHS 99 is sickening.
the fact that these movies
It
continue
was good.
continue to get made is just unbelievable to me because every single segment feels like the person that's directing this segment, like literally, like the production company is saying to them, like, "Hey, here's a chance to direct a quick segment. Do whatever the fuck you want," and they give them like 15, 20 minutes to just go absolutely fucking bananas, and they do. They always do.
What was your favorite segment?
Have
Have you seen it?
I have, yes.
Have you seen it?
No.
You haven't seen it.
Nope. Not yet.
So my favorite
I almost
segment
did.
is the one
know
that
it.
looks like fucking what's it called?
It's the
Ozzy's
fucking
Dungeon.
Yep, Aussie's Dungeon.
Yeah,
Yep.
the-
Legends of the Hidden Temple.
Yep.
Of course.
Andrew,
It's a
what you
very
like?
good- I didn't like that show at all.
No, I mean, well,
I didn't
what
like that
part of the movie did you like?
I didn't like any of that movie.
Oh, you didn't like any of
No,
it?
I thought it
any
was
of it.
terrible.
You didn't like the
Wow.
movie at all? Okay.
Wow.
I thought, what was the one when they bury the
Oh, so you watched it?
sorority girl? Yeah.
Yes,
That was okay.
that was one of the best. I
Was
feel like
that
they
the
were
one
all
that
good.
was directed by Chloe Acuna?
I think so.
That was like the first
That,
one, right?
to me, was the scariest bit.
Oh,
That was good.
Scariest one
All
by
right.
far. Like,
I just
not
wanted
even-
to
But
make
the
feel something
the
about
other one that you were talking about,
I didn't like. See, I hated that one so much. The Legends of the Hidden Temple one. I don't.
that
know
one
why.
was
love Legends
fucked
of the Hidden
up.
I don't know why I didn't
should
like
probably
it.
watch
I
this.
need to watch it again.
I
Maybe
was
can't
so-
believe that you haven't.
It was
love
so
it.
out of control that
should've
I mean,
liked it.
I can't say Barbarian's my number one and not like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
So
I don't know why. Yeah, I guess it wasn't elevated.
Yeah, well, apparently, it's VHS 99 is my number one.
look at that. That's our top 10. That's close to.
Yay.
It's
We
gotta
almost
be at
nailed
least.
it.
It's gotta
Well,
be at least 30
Hey.
movies,
Hey,
right?
guys,
Dude, it was
Guess
all
what?
over the place.
Guess what? Guess what? We can still do our honorable mentions,
Honorable
which
mentions.
we have written down. Correct.
I do. I did.
All right,
How many
so
are we doing?
I'm going to start
wait,
with Andrew, and
I'm just gonna
I
list it
guess
off
however-
really quick.
however
I'm not gonna
many-
even
No,
fuck
we
around.
can do that. I have honorable mentions.
All right, ready?
yes, go.
Barbarian, U-Log, The Adult Swim, Hellraiser, Prey, The Watcher, and Resurrection.
I only had 5 because I didn't realize we were gonna do like another extra 10. For
That was
honorable
5,
mentions.
so
Oh,
whatever.
okay.
Shut
All
up.
right. So mine was Men, and then The Invitation that I watched that actually
Wow.
was very good that no one else here watched.
Yep.
Then I also watched No Exit that I thought was also very good. Hellraiser and Choose Your Die.
Can't believe that was.
It has to be an honorable mention.
I thought it was number 1.
No, I mean, number 1 out of my picks.
Yeah. So
No.
you were talking about that movie like it was good,
It is
and
good.
it wasn't even your top 10. Your top 10.
Do you know how many other movies came out this year?
How many other terrible movies you picked? Yes, I'm aware.
Okay, well, then you need to watch
I'm
Choose Your
just
Die
kidding.
because it was on honorable
All right,
mention
why
with
don't you let
Hellraiser.
Matt speak?
Sorry.
I'll give you guys my next 10.
10.
See, I was giving you a hard time.
My number 11 would have been Resurrection. Number 12 was Hatching. Number 13, VHS 99. Number 14, Fresh.
Oh,
by
I
Mimi
wanted
Cave.
to watch Fresh.
Number 15, The Curse by Sean Ellis. Number 16, Hellraiser by David Bruckner. Number 17, Watcher by Chloe Okuno. Number 18, Nope by Jordan Peele. Number 19, A Wounded Fawn by Travis Stevens. And number 20, Prey by Dan.
You had Nope so
Wow.
far down.
And Fresh.
I'm fine with that. Like, I like it. I respect it. Mike?
All right, so for my top 10, I had Halloween Ends at number 10.
No,
Your honorable
What?
mentions.
Your honorable mentions.
Honorable mentions. Oops, sorry.
Oops.
Yeah, I know. It was weird when he said Nope.
And then we'll
18.
recap. We'll recap. Yeah.
The fuck?
You should write them down like Andrew does.
All right, so I have
I
my
changed my whole list. I can't read.
I own a phone.
I on a phone.
That's what I did too. So I actually had to look to see if this movie was a 2021 or a 2022 movie. It's called Off Season. You can find it on Shudder. It's fantastic. It's fantastic. Very good. Also, the Hellraiser remake. I really liked a lot. I know a couple of people had it on their
solid
list.
movie.
It was good.
Top 10. I loved the movie. Men also I thought was great. And I just couldn't find a way to work it into my personal top 10.
Wait, sorry to time out. I find it so funny that you guys were all like totally jerking off to Men, and now all of a sudden you're like, Men isn't like my bottom on.
Men was in my top 5
like,
in the beginning of the year.
Men was my top
there's more.
I really like Men.
Men was my top 5.
There's more movies that came out.
Still in my top 5.
I had it in my. That was my number 10.
I had X and The Cursed. Those two movies. I didn't make it into my top 10, but I understand that you two probably had them in yours. So,
I did not.
Maybe some. Okay, Andrew. What were your honorable mentions?
Barbarian, Hellraiser, U-Log, Adult Swim, Prey, The Watcher, Resurrection.
Okay. Kat, did you have any honorable mentions?
I didn't talk about mine yet?
Nope. That's.
Oh, okay. Mine is.
Yours is.
Mine is.
Men.
Okay.
Wow, you like Men.
I more or less like the way it was shot and like the.
We don't
the
need
way
a
about the
synopsis. We
movie.
just want your
Just saying.
list.
I know, you just want my list. Wait, I did not need to talk about this. I feel like I already did. The Invitation that none of you guys watched.
Nope.
Yeah, correct.
Not in your top 10.
No Exit that also none of you guys watched.
So that's in your top.
You watched.
Wait, I
the
thought.
last
Oh wait,
2
are we talking
days.
about honorable mentions here? Are we
Yes.
talking about my top 10?
Yes,
Honorable
honorable mentions.
That's what I thought. Okay, because you said you didn't mention this, and I was like, well, no, we see some honorable mentions. Hellraiser,
Good.
because the Cenobites.
We saw that.
Yep.
The Cenobites.
Cenobites.
The Cenobites.
That's what I said.
I'm not saying.
Kind of. And Choose or Die.
I can't believe that
Made
wasn't
the
your
top,
number
made
one.
the honorable mention.
Honestly, dude, you guys really should watch it.
Okay.
It's not even your top.
It is a
If it's not in your
Bandersnatch.
top 10,
It's
I'm
like a
watching.
Bandersnatch.
From
It's-
top to bottom,
Bandersnatch.
can we go around and say a name and say what our top 10 was? Do we want to start, Mike?
Yes,
Do you want to
absolutely.
go for it?
Yep, I can go first if you'd like. If you guys would like to go in 5,
I can go.
4, 3,
Oh,
and 2, and 1. All right, so my top 10. Number 10, Halloween Ends. Number 9, Out There Halloween Mega Tape. Number 8, Barbarian. Number 7, Speak No Evil. Number 6, Pearl. Number 5, Terrifier 2. Number 4, Prey. Number 3, Nope. Number 2, Smile. And number 1, VHS 99. Andrew, you're up.
My number 10 was Hatching. My number 9 was A Wounded Fawn. Number 8, Terrifier 2. Number 7, Pearl. Number 6, What Josiah Saw. Number 5, Men. Number 4, Nope. Number 3, Smile. Number 2, Speak No Evil. And number 1, You Won't Be Alone.
Gato.
Mine was number 10 was Terrifier 2. Number 9 was Texas Chainsaw. 8 was Pearl. 7 was Speak No Evil. 6 was Prey. 5 was Resurrection. 4 was Scream. Nope. 2 was Hocus Pocus 2. And 1 was Smile.
All right, Mr. Audette.
All right, my number 10 was Men. My number 9 was Smile. My number 8 was Bones and All. My number 7 was The Innocents. My number 6 was The Sadness. My number 5 was X. My number 4 was Speak No Evil. My number 3 was Pearl. My number 2 was Terrifier 2. And my number 1 was Barbarian.
Barbarian.
All right.
Miguel?
Oh, I already did mine.
Oh, you already. I thought you. Oh,
Yeah,
never
do I hear him again?
Oops.
Sorry.
Halloween Ends
And
is
the
time. All right, I think we've earned enough time here. This is at 2.5 hours now where we can
We
sign
wish
off.
you a happy new year. We
Can I
wish
say my
you
thing
a
that
happy
I wrote
new
out
year.
again that everyone really liked?
Yeah. you
This
do it.
year has been
And no one wants to listen to that.
Hi, my name is Kat. I do a podcast sometimes, and my
Sometimes
name
when I
is
take
Kat.
notes, I write things down when I'm
yeah.
sober, so
Okay.
that I can read them.
Go ahead.
When I have a few drinks.
Yep,
and
go
I
ahead.
sound very. No, I already talked about it.
Oh, you don't want to say it again?
Do you want me to say it?
I mean, we're over
I
that.
think you should.
You want me to say it again? Okay.
Yeah, go ahead.
I can
Come
say
on.
it.
Come on.
Really?
I mean, it's
All right.
really going to be... Okay, go ahead.
This year has been exceptional for remakes, redos, and tributes to a few of my favorite movies. Not all of them have done them justice. Not all of them are great. But it was great to see Ghostface, Leatherface, Predator, Pinhead, Art the Clown, the Sanderson sisters, and there was one more that you guys were talking about
my God.
that I didn't mention.
Oh my
Michael
God.
Myers.
Oh, yes.
And Michael
So
Myers.
good in Goldfinger.
I mean,
I love that movie.
Back
My
on the
God.
big screen this
How-
year.
Wayne's World, excellent.
In 2022, all of them showed their face
They did.
on the big screen.
I'm just so excited to talk
It's
about
awesome.
all them peoples.
It's awesome because I know that not everyone's a big fan of remakes, but it's
Nope,
it's
none
nice
of us
to see
are.
all of them again.
No, it's the worst.
I mean,
No?
I do understand the point that she's making, don't you?
The point is wrong, and I don't care.
Horror movies
Shut
took
up.
over 2022. I mean,
Yeah.
there was so
Hey,
many
no, in all
horror
seriousness,
movies.
if you can try and think back to another year in the last 20, 30,
No, not even close.
30, dare I say
Right.
40 years, that
It's
there
been
was
a
a
long
better
time.
year of consistent horror movies.
Yeah.
Dude, when I had to cut down on like
That's a
20
bold
movies
statement.
to get my top
It's a bold
10,
statement.
that
It's a
was
bold
a
statement.
one. No,
Should I
it's
trim
true.
it down to 35?
I don't know. I don't think so. I mean, you guys...
Not since 1990.
Stick with the bold opinions.
I don't know. What do we got for 2023?
Right? Winnie the Pooh.
I bet you it's gonna be.
I suppose
It's gonna be a down year.
I can't wait for Winnie the Pooh.
I don't know. I think we're going to have a good year. I
mean-
think there's going to be a lot to come out of Shudder.
Dude, my first favorite film of the year is gonna be Winnie the Pooh.
Well, a lot of them are like all the streaming services are doing their own exclusive like
Yeah.
movies. So I
That's
mean,
not
you have,
necessarily a good thing.
No, but
Oh,
it might
sure.
be.
Well, guys, all I have to say is, hey, it's been a great final episode of the season for America's Hometown Horror. I'm excited that people have joined us, but here's where you can find us on all of the following internet platforms, including Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, Amazon Music, iHeartRadio, Stitcher, Spreaker, and wherever else you may get your podcast. My name is Mike. I'm your host. Thanks for tuning in to our final episode of the year, and say good evening to your fellow podcast hosts.
adios, muchacho.
Mwah! Happy New Year, everybody.
Go fuck yourself.
Oh, Andrew.
Way to go, Andrew. Attaboy. Hey everyone, it's Mike from America's Hometown Horror, and just wanted to say thank you again for listening to another episode of our show, because of course, we would be nothing without you listeners. If you are interested in more local Plymouth podcasts, I would highly recommend you check out some shows by our cohorts on the Inebriart Podcast Network. That's right, the Inebriart Podcast Network, folks. In addition to America's Hometown Horror, you can find the Inebriart Podcast, Bar Talk, Theme Park Legends, Retro Redoctopus, and Old Colony Cast. Head on over and give them a listen.